Happy Friday. Today is our fun day. We get to go off the beaten path and we get to check out some random stuff. I'm going to just keep the document up just in case we have to add something in, just in case we have to tell someone we have what we're actually doing here. But I think we're just going to be watching some random stuff. We're just going to be going crazy today, you know? The other thing I want to do is the Time 2025 Best Inventions of the Year. I saw that came out. So I was thinking maybe we do that. Is there a better page than this? What's the difference here? Bestinventions.time.com. Yo, Darmadam, welcome. You are the first. So yeah, a couple things. We could watch some videos. Then we could look through some of the top inventions of the year, which I always love doing every year. I'm surprised they already have this out though. It's like already, or it's only October. We are doing well today. We are. I have a long video. Ooh, I don't know if we could do the whole thing, but I'm down to. I thought Onion would like it. Okay, we could save it for Onion, but if you want, you could cue it, and I'll cue it up. Yeah. What's the nicer? Stay in the loop. What does that mean? Companies get started. Okay. Oh, is this where you propose the benefits of entering? I see. So this is entries, and then this is probably the... Here it actually is, so... Oh gosh. This is going to be a scary one. And yeah. So let's start off with some random... Would you like to leave... Actually, would you like to leave your reality is kind of scary. Maybe we should start off with... with your mind is trying to heal you by hurting you. So this is very much in line with our usual stuff. Oh, the other thing I was thinking we could do is we could check out Twitch. We could check out the... we could do the Twitch search, actually. And we could also just do a Twitch search for stuff that's up our alley and see who's streaming. And then we could also do more YouTube searches. It's got his bro in it. All right. Nice. Okay. I guess to be clear, which was his bro of these two? All right, what do we got here? Eastern and Western lenses to analytic idealism with Bernardo Kastrup and Swami Sarpa Priyananda. In this installment, we have two distinguished speakers alongside. Okay. This conversation this doesn't give us any information. The dialogue. Perspectives on life and existence, nature of consciousness, mind-body problem, and self in the world. The dialogue between them is a rich exploration of Advaita Vedanta, a non-dualistic Hindu philosophy, and consciousness. Bernardo commence with the three fundamental philosophical questions around the nature of reality, self, and knowledge. Kastrup addresses accusations of plagiarizing from the, Upanishads, leading to a discussion contrasting Western and Eastern philosophical approaches. Dives into the non-dualism, the nothingness, and the hard problems of problem of consciousness. So yeah, this is definitely in line with what we've been discussing. And we do have chapters, which is really nice for us. So yeah, he linked that guy talking shit to Sam Harris. I believe I watched like 20 minutes of it. Oh, okay, nice. So yeah, I'm sure he's aware. Yeah, if he doesn't show up, we could start it at some point. But let's see what's going on here. I can't see where the Oh no, I clicked the wrong button. I can't see any of this. Is it? It's got to be right here. There we go.
Many of us dimly sense that despite ourselves, unfortunately and mysteriously, we keep ending up in some very similar dark places. Perhaps
Yikes.
another relationship with someone who doesn't seem to love us properly, or another breakdown of trust at work, or another panic about reputation or sex. Or else the repeated patterns involve a return to a background mood. Yet again we feel highly anxious. Yet again we feel convinced that everyone hates us, or that something terrible is about to happen.
This is starting off great.
Given all this a name. Insofar as we keep steering ourselves back to some familiar negative circumstances or emotions, we may be in the grip of what is known as a repetition compulsion. We aren't here again by coincidence. We are, in an unconscious part of our minds, steering ourselves to a place of pain with hidden intent. This is a hugely perplexing notion to have to take on board. It's bad enough to keep winding up in particular trouble. It's even worse to have to think that we're being driven towards it by some kind of ineluctable internal force. We naturally want to repeat pleasure, but why seek to repeat frustration, sabotage, and alarm? Psychotherapists have a suggestion. We can never let go of any negative experience, they tell us, until it has been fully understood. An issue will remain active for us, even if it's decades old, so long as it's not been acknowledged and its emotional resonance identified and allowed to dissipate. The experiences that we are driven to repeat are, these therapists go on to say, precisely those that we've not been able to square up to. We repeat what we've sidestepped and left unacknowledged. A part of our minds is committed to forcing us back to a zone of original difficulty, not in order that we suffer aimlessly, but so that we may eventually find freedom through understanding. Therefore, in this account, we aren't seeking simply to be unhappy. An emotion...
All right, I think it's going to probably just say the same stuff all the way through. Yeah, and I think this is something that we could easily insert into our discussion of homeostasis at like a large level, that these mechanisms developed to literally tell us when we haven't understood or learned something that we should from a memory. And yeah, this will help us regulate whatever it is that we are missing in our path to surviving. All right, so that was pretty mundane. I think that's a pretty common piece of information now. Granted, it's definitely getting some good views, and we always have to assume that someone hasn't seen something, so it is great to have a video like this to just show people, get people in that mindset.
The ferrymen are among.
Okay, this is giving me Lethal Company vibes. Would you like to leave your reality? What is going on here?
The oldest entities known to our fractured universe. They are not anomalies in the traditional sense, nor are they predators or deceivers. Their purpose is singular and unwavering, to help those who truly wish to leave this reality behind. They only answer when the call is genuine, when the desire to depart one's universe has become complete and unfaltering. It is this desire that begins the process, the silent signal that draws them towards you. Yet even then, finding a ferryman is no easy task. They never appear in the same form twice. To one person, they may arrive as a weary cab driver waiting in the rain. To another, they may be a tuk-tuk driver. Some even report meeting them as literal ferrymen. The only constant is this: they will carry a trace of your past, a detail so intimate, so personal, that it cannot be mistaken. Perhaps the driver's dashboard holds a toy you once loved as a child. Perhaps the hat on their head is the same.
All right, in this broadcast, we will discuss one of the oldest recorded entities known to exist in our universe, the beings referred to as ferrymen. They are said to possess the ability to travel between countless realities, but their offer is never free. The ferrymen can take you to the reality you've always wanted, one where everything went right, where you never lost, never failed, never suffered. In return, they ask only for a single pleasant memory. All right, I think we're going to pass on this one. What can we do here that's like decently short before we jump into the longer one? Someone sent this one. What is going on in this video? Jonathan Bowden is speaking. He was a British political thinker, writer, artist, and orator known for his powerful speeches and involvement in far-right politics. Oh my gosh, what have we gotten ourselves into here? I was hoping that this would be a more philosophical discussion, but it's literally just, it's very much touching on racism here, right? Is a moral good and a moral law? Jesus. All right, we might have to skip past this one. All right, there's not many people watching, I hope. So maybe I'm curious if we can, how easily we could demolish this.
Don't believe life can be perfect because man isn't, and therefore you're totally.
All right, okay, wait a second. Is this video gonna literally just have, it's just gonna have like upbeat music behind it? What is happening here?
We must work on it.
All right, yeah, no, we're dumping that one. There's nothing to be gained there. Jeez. Let's get out of there.
What is it about?
Oh my gosh. Who was that person that did that? Was it Bronson who followed yesterday? Yo! Fritz Caraldo. No, I've not seen that movie. What is good, Gavin's March? Yo, I did just see the movie Battle After Another, One Battle After Another. Would highly recommend. It was pretty cool. And I know, you know, we've talked about some of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies. I remember, like, I distinctly remember after watching There Will Be Blood telling you that it just made me feel terrible. But then I feel like over time, I feel like with his movies, you just watch them multiple times and then they like, you could appreciate like what's actually happening in the movie after the fact. But yeah, it was pretty cool. It wasn't like, you know, the most insane thing I've ever seen, but it was definitely worth watching. If you go to the theaters, I would recommend IMAX. It's just got one of those vibes. Was one of my favorite movies for a while. Yeah. Yeah, that's an absolute spectacle. And I kind of want to just watch through all of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies, and also Daniel Day-Lewis I think his movie released today. I've been pretty much just doing the channel, and then Fridays we usually do fun stuff. We just kind of take requests and go wherever the wind takes us. But yeah, it's a lot of just making content on like part 1 of the document, and then we're starting to like outline part 2 of the document. Yeah, just a ton of stuff. Honestly, I haven't been doing much outside of that. It's pretty much it's been pretty much that. How about you? Have you been ripping shows? Oh, also, I think I'm going to the Archmere reunion. I guess that's kind of a dox. The reunion is like tomorrow. Played a full ambient set the other week, which was fun. Nice. Yeah, is it different when like the other bands are like, oh, we know exactly what you're doing? Or are you saying that your set was all ambient and like the other sets were still different? Nice. My mom told me about it. I didn't feel like going, but yeah, I'm curious. You could see who like signed up, and it's really not many people, and it's honestly not like none of the people that I really knew or were friends with. So our drummer couldn't make it, so it was just me and the bassist, and we made oh nice. Oh, and we make ambient music together too, so we ripped it. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, what was the vibe like? What was the reception for that? No one cared? Oh, no. I feel like an ambient set at like a music festival would be one of the coolest experiences ever. Which was perfect. Nice. Yeah, I've been fiending for a full music festival, but it just seems like they're all so expensive. That, or they're really far away, or they just don't have the lineup. It was at a shitty bar, so no one paid attention, but it was expected. I feel like lineups mostly suck now too. Yeah, what was happening back in the Firefly days? I felt like there was something for everyone. I mean, granted, maybe our tastes were like primitive, but I really enjoyed that. So, really, that's funny. No, you're good. Yeah, I mean, there's really no path I usually take on Fridays. I was literally gonna read through the best inventions of the year at some point. Um, yeah. Oh, and then been playing Hades. Hades 2 has been a lot of fun. It's just been banger after banger game. I can't believe it. Uh, Electric Salmon top invention of the year for sure. Yeah. Yep. You don't have one of these in your house? I'm a little worried about what else we're gonna find in this thing. Like, I don't know what's going on over here. Uh, I imagine like half the things on this list are gonna be AI related, which is just terrifying. Um, yeah, I don't know if I'm prepared for slop talk. All right, what do we got here? What's going on? I feel like we should just jump to the longer video, unless we go into Noam Chomsky, see what's going on there. I fell for an AI video the other day, and it upset me quite a bit. Yeah, I think we're all doomed at this point. Like, I think that people and companies are going to start pushing stuff as if it's real now. I mean, Sora 2 is pretty good. Yeah. The old folks. Yeah, it's crazy. I might have said this earlier, but like, people were saying that like our whole life, like our parents were telling us not to go on Wikipedia because it wasn't reliable, and then they're getting all their news from Facebook, and they can't even like tell what is real and what's not. And I mean, reflecting on how the nature of information is changing so rapidly. Yeah, even one cycle ago, a lot of people couldn't tell. I feel like AI destroys all the positive impacts of the internet, like how it facilitated rapid transmission of information. Yeah, I don't understand how we're gonna sift through information now, and so like how do we aggregate things? How do we find what's like actually empirically backed? How do we find what's like good content? Because I don't think that all AI content's going to be necessarily bad, just as like how not all non-AI content is good. It's just it's going to be very difficult to find the good because there's going to be so much. We have Grok fact check. Yep, that's the way to do it. Yep. Yeah, I'm actually terrified that Grok's doing well in the leaderboards. I think it's like in all our best. I mean, I don't trust any of these companies, but I trust Grok the least. We need good AI to fight bad AI. Yeah, we just combat Grok with woke AI. Exactly. That's what AI is good for. Yeah, in theory it works. Wasn't it that like what was that crazy prediction story? It almost reads like a it almost reads like a creepypasta, honestly. The one where the guy was saying the trajectory of AI and how it's, at some point it just kind of takes over because its values, or in terms of what it's trying to optimize, is kind of getting out of the hands of the companies that are making it, and then now you're going to need to make AI specifically to keep the other AI in line. It was pretty scary, honestly. But fortunately, not everyone thinks that that's going to be the trajectory. So maybe we'll be chilling, reading old Asimov novels, and it's crazy how he predicted so much of the dangers of AI robotics before computers were even a thing. Yeah, it's like, I think it's crazy that, like when we were kids, we got exposed to these things, and now they're like kind of coming to fruition. Like the robotics stuff, it's starting to look little too good, you know. Imagine at the advent of computers, some said, wow, computer viruses are unstoppable. It will all get messed up, but really not. You just use your computers better than the bad people. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And yeah, this is why like wearables or not wearables, but like the embedded chips and like Neuralink stuff, like it's just too high risk at this point. And this is like we're incorporating like quantum computing into the mix. I don't know what's going on. I'm pretty doomer when it comes to all this stuff, honestly. We can allow fetish into this. Yeah, unfortunately I have to accept all these words after. Mostly good for creating John Fetterman fetish content. Oh my gosh. Man, John Fetterman really had played us all. He really got us. He got Pennsylvania looking foolish. Granted, it's still probably a much better way to go than Emmett. But yeah, it's gonna be my challenge on this channel to not be political at all. Which is gonna just get harder and harder as you know, people start getting thrown into wherever. I feel like there's two ways society can evolve: tech and spiritual, and the interplay is important. If your tech gets too powerful when you're still warring, then you're screwed. Yeah, the problem is like tech directly conflicts with our ability to manage our emotions and remain like in a good spiritual state of mind. Creating pics of JFET in a Type 8 political. It's just artistic, you know. Yeah, we need someone to make some pretty comprehensive laws about what I don't know. I don't even know how you do it. Does it have to be some type of oversight to the algorithms that are involved or the content that's involved? But then you get like a free speech issue on all these fronts. It's really tough. So I'm not sure. Then it's crazy that like 10 years later, it's still kind of a gray area as to whether these companies are like public spaces versus are they private places. So I don't know. We really dropped the ball on this one. We're rather late to the party here. All right. Enough doom and gloom. We could do each of these. Actually, the Noam Chomsky one we could probably do later when we actually go through that part of the document. Wait. What is going on with Hank? I've been pretty stoked about Hank recently.
Good morning, John.
Full disclosure. He's been kind of popping off, I think.
This pizza miss, we've had thoughts from places, we've had walks in the woods, we've had song Wednesdays, and now, as you can tell from the gray speckled walls behind me, it's a traditional unscripted airport vlog. People in the airport think that I'm great. Actually, since we started Vlogbrothers, airport aesthetics have changed. In the new wing of the Missoula International Airport, it's got white walls. It's not gray or speckled. That makes me think they're gonna look dirty soon, but hopefully they'll keep it clean. I loved your video yesterday. It was so thoughtful and kind and open. I want to talk about it, but first I have to talk about the fact that I just went through airport security with beanie sandburbs in my bag.
I don't think there's gonna be like a comprehensive topic here, so I might cut it. Yeah, Dom, I think I'm gonna start up this guy, and then if Onion Helmet comes, then we can let him know.
Siri.
Oh, what is going on here? All right, let's pump this up, and then I'll probably go for maybe like, let's go 30 minutes here if we can. And then switch over, maybe start reading some inventions, and then do some do some research.
Welcome to the Great Minds series. Today's topic on the perspective on life and existing. We are here for a dialogue at the intersections of Eastern and Western philosophical perspective, blending the spiritual.
I might actually just skip to the actual intro.
If you look into that, it's
accomplished philosopher, author, and scientist Dr. Bernardo Castro. Welcome and namaste, Swami.
Thank you very much for having me in this event. And it's an honor to be with Bernardo and Ivy and Sam, and with the rest of you who are in our live audience. So I'll just start with what I'm comfortable with, which is the Advaita Vedanta perspective and a little broader picture of some of the other allied schools of Indian philosophy. The subject today is, Ivy just told us, if you look into that, it's self, consciousness, what is the world, and life itself, basically. So all the really, really big subjects, really big questions. All right, so first, I think it will be helpful to get a view of classical Advaita Vedanta in brief, and then maybe open it up, then maybe Bernardo can come in.
Are you struggling in your calculus class?
Yeah, we might be getting hit with a lot of these. I might need to get premium on this account if we're going to be doing these frequently on Fridays. Does it tell us when we get hit? No, we're going to just get hit out of nowhere.
Advaita Vedanta is one of the many schools of ancient Indian philosophy.
So let's get this, how do I spell this thing again? It's oh no, we didn't say it here. Good luck. Let's go. It says it here. We're looking for Advaita Vedanta. I'm going to have this going.
It's based on the Vedas, which are the foundational texts of Hinduism. In the Vedas, there are these texts called the Upanishads, which give us sort of the final or the highest conclusions of Vedic Hinduism. And based on the Upanishads, the orthodox schools of Hindu philosophy have developed over millennia. So the term Vedanta itself refers to the Upanishads, the source of spiritual knowledge called the Upanishads. Advaita Vedanta is one of the schools of Vedanta, but I would dare say it's sort of preeminent because of certain reasons which make it peculiarly sort of acceptable to the modern mind. There is little to no theology there, and the emphasis is on experience and reason. So Advaita Vedanta gives tremendous importance to life as we experience it, and then uses reason to come to its conclusions. Just like all the other schools of Indian philosophy, whether Hindu, Buddhist, Jain, all of these.
So right off the bat, that mission statement is very in line with what we do. We're looking at all these topics as we experience them, and then we're basically leveraging intuition, what people understand, and we're trying to reason towards, why it's even beneficial to think about the world in this way, or why it's grounded in science and therefore it's going to be apt in some certain way. Ask AI about connection between Advaita and physicists. All right.
Ancient schools, the purpose was more or less the same. How do we overcome suffering? How do we attain fulfillment in life? So a very practical purpose. But they very soon realized that they must have a current view of reality in order to achieve their aims, and especially a view of who or what is it that is seeking to overcome suffering and attain fulfillment. And the moment they focused on the self, the one which is trying to attain fulfillment and go beyond suffering, immediately they came upon the question of mind and consciousness. So mind and consciousness became a central question of Indian philosophy from the very beginning. From the Upanishads itself, these questions have come up. For example, one of the Upanishads goes right to what we might today call the hard problem of consciousness. It's called the Kena Upanishad, and it starts with a question. Most of these Upanishads are in the form of dialogues. So it starts with a question: what is it that gives us this experience of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting? What is it that enables us to speak? What enables the mind to think thoughts, and so on? So basically, what is it that's powering our first-person experience of life?
So the first thing to point out is this isn't really the most intuitive thing, but this concept is in line with capital B being for Heidegger. It's just the full scope of consciousness. yeah, we should. I kind of want to look through these things just to prime myself. Without qualities, formless, eternal, consciousness itself, right? So Brahman, okay. I think I'm grasping it. It is being, consciousness, and bliss. The world is not absolutely unreal like a square circle, but not ultimately real either. It is conditioned, dependent existence. The role of Maya is the power of illusion or ignorance that projects multiplicity onto the non-dual Brahma. So this topic through Heidegger or through Being in Time is described as inauthentic being, and he frames this through something akin to your sense of culture, so like your sense of other people. So it's a, he describes it as like falling to the other, and other being like this sense of what is, and what is concretely as understood by other people. So as we are, projecting any type of lowercase b being, any type of concrete meaning, even when I think this is a pen, like I have fallen. This is a reduction of the ultimate Brahman. If I'm saying that, it's a reduction of absolute reality. How this pen actually, exists for me or within consciousness, I could say. And that's the whole exercise of Being in Time. Liberation is achieved through knowledge, not ritual or devotion alone. When one realizes their true nature as Brahman, ignorance is destroyed. This realization leads to freedom, cessation of suffering. It wouldn't be an immediate cessation of suffering. It would be the path towards the cessation of suffering, I think. Because you kind of understand it conceptually, but now there's a practice that you have to do, that you can do because you've understood this thing. Abiding in Ananda, blissful awareness. Swami explains it much better. He is a pro. Yeah, I'm sure. I just want to be primed. Method, the path of knowledge. All right. I'm not going to be able to pronounce this here, but involving listening to teachings, reflecting and reasoning upon them, deep meditation to internalize and directly experience truth. Once again, we are very much against this type of phrasing, like the idea that you directly experience truth even after you meditate and you're a pro meditator. Like, it's obviously a different state of being or a different state of experience, but we wouldn't go as far as to describe it as it being more true than any other state. The guru we watched of Harris was an advice. Okay. This was the guru that he said he was compelled by, even though he wasn't lined up exactly with that specific teaching. Comparison, non-dualism, identical. That's between Atman. Okay. Self and Brahman. Part-whole relation. Okay. Eternally distinct. Yikes. Advaita thus takes the most radical position of unity. Brahman alone is real. The world and the individual are appearances. Yep. So yeah, this is one that highlights experience. Influence and legacy. Profoundly shaped Indian philosophy, spirituality, and mysticism. Around what time was this actually? It influenced later traditions such as Neo Vedanta, as well as global philosophy of mysticism and consciousness studies. East philosophy conflates truth with God, beauty, things like that. Right, I would still say that, though. I would still say that, like, in almost as a logical implication of what this is talking about, that any type of trying to understand what you're feeling as the truth or as God would still be falling into this projecting multiplicity onto the non-dual Brahman. Now, obviously, you could say that, similar to how Heidegger does this by abstracting these states, you could say that there's something inherently true about what Heidegger's saying, but that's when he talks about truth, he talks about truth through potentiality and being in this state of not projecting. So even to try to characterize this state would be similarly inappropriate. 800 AD. Okay, so this is like beating Heidegger to the punch by a long shot, which is incredibly impressive, given that Heidegger basically does the same thing, though perhaps maybe with a little more nuance. I'm not sure. I would have to learn the whole rule set here, or the whole conceptual landscape. Or Indian at least can be argued. It's as old as the Upanishads, but I think most would say Advaita was formalized with Shankara. I believe they believe that also. Okay, God is just a dualistic form of oneness. They distinguish Brahman from the personal God Ishwara. Ishwara, was that we haven't seen that, right? Or have we? Wrong one? No, okay. But they also say they are the same thing. Haha. So I could see what that means. I can make sense of that. It's akin to how everyone experiences consciousness in this state of, that you would say, like Brahman, in this state of absolute reality. But your very conscience is one that, calls out to you through Brahman. So you could say that it's the same thing, but it's, there's still there's a slight difference here where we're talking one's personal God calling out to you rather than, and when I say calling out to you, I don't mean like talking to you like the voice in our head. I mean like giving you being itself. Like God said, let there be light. Like whatever is giving you any information at all or any feeling at all through consciousness, that would be your personal God. In my mind, I'm trying to make sense of this. Sometimes spelt differently. Yeah, there's like 5 different spellings for Ishwara. Okay. So yeah, maybe it's here. But maybe I spelled it wrong. Okay, and then what's the connection between... that's a perceptive question and a deep one. The connection between Advaita, Vedanta, and modern physics isn't historical. Physicists didn't derive their theories from it, but conceptual and philosophical, right? Many modern physicists have noted striking parallels between Advaita's non-dual worldview and the discoveries of quantum mechanics and relativity. So we might want to run away from this. I don't think we care about quantum physics or quantum mechanics when we're talking about something like Advaita or just experience at all. That was the whole reason we went through that whole arc. I've got the video of us. I don't have to actually go there, but what is that? Jordan Peterson staring at me? What's going on there? Rat Boy Okay, let's get out of here. I just wanted it to tell you about the quantum dudes that were into it, like Schrodinger. Okay. So yeah, let's just see what we've got here. The common ground, unity beneath diversity. Reality, Brahman, is a single indivisible consciousness underlying all phenomena. The multiplicity of the world arises from Maya illusion born of ignorance. So we have to, so when we actually, you know, tie this back to what we know about science, you know, I'll also tie this back to just the spirit of our document, what I think the spirit of being in time is. When we talk about Brahman, I don't think we're talking about anything external than your experience, your conscious experience. And so I don't think we're allowed to say that there is some type of like this reality is like external to us at all. But we're still following we're still in line with this language here because phenomena is experienced. So this is how that works. It's a single indivisible consciousness underlying all phenomena. So this is a description of the human experience of consciousness. So this is maybe this is more akin to Dasein actually. This is Dasein. I messed it up. This is like how being is revealed to humans. So Brahman. Okay, well, I should actually say that. How similar or different is Brahman? Is the concept Brahman from Heidegger's Dasein? So that'll be the next one. Shankara says, if Brahman is permanent and unchanging, how can Brahman become this changing world? He says it doesn't change. It only appears to change via an illusion. Right. Well, the idea would the idea would be that throughout your entire life, you're still experiencing the world through consciousness. Now, the tricky thing is, and this is the real failure of these philosophies, even Heidegger's, is that we know through the lens of neuroplasticity that it's not just the information we understand about the world that changes over our lifetime. It's connections that relate to how we feel anything. So literally the nature of Brahman would kind of change over time. The nature of Brahman for each person is actually different, though we could abstract all of this and just say it's consciousness, right? But yeah, if you concede Brahman, that's a way to understand why it's called an illusion. Right. So this is where just, you know, if we go with the actual science here and we get to, you know, go with the nuance of the science here, we get more precision than these rather abstract terms, similar to Dasein. Like, I don't think anyone would have expected from, you know, 100 years ago that are like the way that different people experience fear or, you know, even, you know, love. I think people still think that people experience love in the same way. You know, people are not open to these ideas. But yeah, we experience these in very different ways based on our particular neuroanatomy. I shouldn't say that. Our because I think that's at the level of abstraction of what we have in our brain rather than like the shape of it. So I don't know. Our particular brain makeup, our particular biology, neurobiology. Both just models, right? I would accept science to hybridize it into all this stuff, right? Yeah, so then in the spirit of our document, there's this discussion of I would expect science to hybridize. Am I getting called? Oh, I don't know who this is. In the spirit of our document, then there's this pragmatic discussion of, okay, what conceptualization makes the most sense to our audience? Like, what is the most accessible way to describe these things, which is what we tried to do. So I had to give up Heidegger's language, and I would similarly not want to leverage language such as Brahman, or absolute reality, or, you know, illusion, all this stuff. Just because it's slightly more inaccessible. That's not to say that it's not, you know, obviously beneficial. It still has stuff to give us. It still, you know, is worth our time to look into, but it just can't be in the document. It can influence how we write about the things that we write about in the document. We're trying to make the stuff here more accessible. So yeah, even my book, I talk in more common terms. Nice. Yep. Yeah, I think that's always the challenge. All right. Modern physics, relativity, and quantum theory have shown that what seems to be a diverse, solid, objective world is actually a web of interrelations. So this is a pretty big jump. Like, unity beneath diversity is a crazy abstraction to make an analogy between these two. Observation and reality. The observer is not separate from what is observed. So this is another inappropriate comparison to draw, because when we're talking about Advaita, we're talking about stuff that's appearing in the space of consciousness, you know, we could say. But when quantum mechanics is talking about this, they're talking about the physical world, that like our experience of something is not separate from the physical thing, when really in if we're going to take the scientific approach onto Advaita, we are actually separate from the physical reality that we're observing. Obviously, we have a thought about the meaning, but that's the whole point. The point is that we don't experience the physical world directly. I do run into that a lot, like someone knowing more or less Sanskrit than me when talking about meditation and stuff, and you got to choose your words. Yep. Yeah, it is tricky. Yep, but that's why I think, you know, maybe the best teachers on this stuff can do those translations. Or at least that's my guess. But perhaps that's not always the case. And when I say best teachers, I mean perhaps pragmatically the teacher that can spread the ideas the farthest. I don't know if that's actually that's probably a bad formation either. but yeah, I don't mean not using Sanskrit. I'm fond of it though. Yeah. Yeah, because the tricky thing is that these words do encapsulate a lot more than what we could possibly try to explain. So the word is nice because it's not incredibly intuitive. It's not like people have like certain feelings when they think about the word. Like sometimes Heidegger, I think falls prey with some of his language, like capital A, anxiety. Like that is always going to get inferred as something akin to anxiety, which is not actually what it's referring to, which is crazy. But that's why he's got the capital A, anxiety. So it's nice to have words, especially for me. It's nice to have these words packaged in something that is not intuitive at all. Like I don't even know. I'm seeing these words for the first time. So illusion and appearance, the phenomenal world, not absolutely real, but relatively real, like a dream. Physics at deeper levels, classical reality dissolves. Yeah, this is not a great analogy. But yeah, a lot of these incline towards the concept of reality in the Indian philosophy of Vedanta. Nice. Philosophical resonance, not empirical identity. Not equivalence. Okay, yeah, resonance. It's like, all right, I'm going to put this one out there. It is a more precise language for describing states and shades of consciousness, right? Did you know Buddha used 15 different words for types of desires? No. That's pretty interesting. But yeah, I'm sure you can do that even in the science, right? Like we were just reading yesterday how at least in the time of 1998 when that book was being written, he was trying to break down the taxonomy of feelings or of emotions, and there were many that pertain to desire, but not as many as that. Though they did mention, Panksepp did mention that you could probably break these down even further. It's just, it's obviously hard to do that when we know less about the brain. So I'm curious what people are saying now. Even life is suffering. This translation is a failure of the English language. There is no one word that captures the spectrum of what the Buddha meant by dukkha. All right. High level question, one that touches on the boundary between Indian metaphysics and European existential ontology. The concepts of Brahman and Dasein both address being, but they do so from radically different directions with the very different assumptions and aims. Okay. The central difference in orientation: metaphysical, spiritual, and soteriological. Concern with liberation. Phenomenological, existential, ontological. Concern with understanding being. Starting point. Yo, Sirkar, rated again. What's good? Thank you. Thank you very much. What is, out of curiosity, what was compelling about this channel that is having you come here? Welcome, Raiders. Welcome. Hello. Samurai Destroyer. Welcome. We are talking about Indian spirituality and specifically, if I'm going to get... Advaita Vedanta. I recommended it. Energy Domter. What's good? My Energy Domter. Energy Domter's for everyone. He's to be enjoyed at all places. Welcome, yeah. Are you guys a philosophy stream as well? What types of things? Cue the drums. And of course, are you religious? I am not particularly religious, but I can easily empathize with a lot of like religious concepts and especially when it comes to experience and conscience and all the things there. We discuss philosophy, politics, religion, and economics at Sirkar. Nice. I'm religious, actually. Nice. Well, welcome. And my awful music. What kind of music is that? Yeah, on this channel, we try to stay out of the politics and economics, but we do go into the philosophy and religion here and there. But yeah, on Fridays it's a free for all. We go in any direction as possible, but on all the other days we are focused on this document, which is concerned with how to live a meaningful, emotionally rewarding, and morally good life. And we are slowly walking towards a curriculum, let's just say, in that direction. Fortunately, the one part that we have done, part one, so there's 3 parts, is the philosophy-rich one. So it's actually more scientifically rich. Like it's all the science about how we experience and understand the world, and then we use that to bridge like what we actually intuitively think about our own self and our own freedom in the world, like leveraging philosophy of mind. So, all right. I am in the U.S. Sirker and I went back and forth when discussing about the Bible. Sounds cool. Thank you. Hey, nice. Thank you for following. Yeah, I mean, feel free to just, pop in whenever. I'm going to be working on this thing for a while, so if you want to if you want a guide on how to live a fulfilling life, maybe in a year and a half I'll be done. So, what do I think about Christianity? I grew up in a Christian household, and I've been quite inspired by, I should say, Jordan Peterson's Bible lectures. I thought those were pretty phenomenal at connecting the written, whether it was teachings or stories, to a metaphysical, ontological, phenomenological lens. I would describe myself as agnostic in terms of like an actual like external creator, but I can very easily think about my own consciousness or my own brain, my own mind as something akin to the Christian God. Like, I think that's very easy to make sense of. So I could easily say that I have a relationship with God in that sense. I can listen for God. I can practice prayer, essentially. I'm not a philosopher, just a Christian who talks about philosophy, the faith, and the Bible. Nice. Yep. I guess my usual assertion is that, and I don't know this to be true, it's like a speculation. Hey, welcome. Yeah, my speculation is that it's not necessary to think that there is an external God for you to have a relationship with God as an internal thing. And one of the things that we do in the document in part 1 is pointing out that we don't have control over this experience of consciousness that we have. So it's not like once you get rid of any external God that you're free to go. Like, you are very much constrained by your brain, by your physiology, by the very concepts that you understand. Like, I always use a pen for an example. I can't think that this is not a pen, regardless of how much I want to. I am constrained in that sense. So it's not just I'm not just a free person that gets to just run around when there's no external God. So you're more agnostic in what way? Sorry. I guess I'm agnostic in the sense that, like, we don't know what caused the physical world to start. So I'm less agnostic in the sense of, like, I think that one of the religions is like an actual description of the physical reality. It's more that, like, we really don't know what happens pre-Big Bang, or if that's even a way to talk about the Big Bang. We don't know what happens post death of the universe. So it's like agnostic in that sense. It's like I could actually, I always thought this was pretty nice, and we could watch this for what is going on here? We gotta get premium here.
I'm not personally annoyed by atheists, but a lot of people assume I'm an atheist and sort of draw no distinction between being an atheist and an agnostic. And there's a sort of, particularly among, basically rational comedians like me, there's a lot of atheism going on. And I don't accept the argument that atheism is the most rational response to the world as we see it. I think agnosticism is, and I also I don't want there to be nothing. No. I'm not convinced there's something, but I do want there to be something. I want there to be an all-powerful, benevolent God, and I like that thought. And I was initially brought up with it, and now I'm not sure. Yeah. But I'm not ready to reject it, and I'm suspicious of the disdain for people who find that a comfort in their lives, and the sort of desperation among some atheists to tear that comfort away from them. Yeah. And the argument given for that is that religion has caused lots of killing and pain. And I dispute that, because so much killing and pain was done in the name of, communism or fascism. Humans have killed humans in the name of anything, whether it's religious or political or whatever. Humans just like to kill each other.
Yeah.
And they'll use religion as an excuse, and they'll use politics as an excuse, and they'll use freedom as an excuse. But the idea that you take away one of the excuses that the killing will suddenly stop happening, I think is absurd. What you take away is the comfort that a lot of people have as they face the possibility of oblivion.
All right. Yeah, I'm slightly off of that, the view where, actually, let me just read up on what's going on here. I just think about the elephant parable, right? Since we're doing recommendations on Friday, can we maybe watch a Chomsky video on linguistics? We can. I've got it right here, right? So we can rip that one. Well, we really haven't given this one enough time yet. We have to do that as well. And that all paths valid. Right. Yeah, I mean, the way I make sense of these religions, as we write in the document, is that over time people needed to make sense of their experience. And it was very beneficial to them and their social group to make sense of these very large issues, like why do you experience negative emotion when you do something wrong, or why does I don't know what's like a religious experience, like why does being in a social practice of some sort, a social ceremony, feel very important? How do you make sense of like miracles happening? I actually do like to talk about philosophy. I like to discuss about philosophical ideas. Nice. Rational comedian. Or no. Yes, Energy Domter. Heyo. Oh, here we go. Stan, if it's not too much to request, recently I've been questioning my gender, so while I'm fine with he, him pronouns, I think I'm leaning more towards they, them pronouns because I have a broadly non-binary inner sense of gender identity. I will try my very best to use the right pronouns here. I guess, yeah. In my personal life, I haven't really had that come up too much. So please excuse me if I make mistakes, but absolutely. And I hope that things are clear or become clear. Okay, so talking about David Mitchell, what he just said, the aspect of hoping that there is like an all-powerful benevolent God, I don't find the need for that. The way I see it is that we are here with a conceptual understanding that we've fallen into, like our culture is just something that was kind of thrust upon us. Our existence is something that's thrust upon us, and we're here right now, and we kind of have this understanding of things conceptually. And part of our understanding right now is that we can experience all of these things that we would attribute to a emotionally positive, fulfilling, meaningful life. So it's less about, hoping that there's a benevolent God. Well, actually, I'm gonna give myself a counter argument after this, but for me, it's more of like, I'm pretty satisfied that there is a path that I can take, like I can take responsibility for this, to do the things that will lead to a fulfilling life and a life that is meaningful. Now, a part of that is I want to do things that make other people feel like that their life is meaningful and that they have this positive emotion. And that's what's guiding me in this document. So the counter argument to all that is, if there was a benevolent God and it made itself apparent, then perhaps it's actually quite easy for a lot of people to have a meaningful life because now they can just go towards the God. So perhaps it would be a good thing, but it wouldn't be a good thing for the sake of me necessarily. It's not a selfish thing. It would be good for everyone, perhaps, if there was a singular benevolent God that made himself known and then tells people what they ought to do, and provided you do that, then you feel good about your life. Like, one thing that I found that was so crazy is that when I was in school, like when I was in college, like I had a decent amount of free time, but I didn't feel like I was wasting time in my free time because I felt like I was still on the path. Like I was still doing the work that needed to be done for my college curriculum. So as far as I was concerned, I was doing everything that was asked of me, and I was, moving ahead. But, it was an amount of free time that I used for like fun things that I would my current self describe as like too much. I don't want to spend that much free time doing fun stuff now. So now I feel as though I need to be, filling up that time with productive things. But if you have this setup, this external setup that tells you that you're doing what you need to be doing, then you can feel that positive emotion. The all-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving God idea is pretty new in the history of religion. Yeah, I could see how that would be. That, back when life was not all that safe, let's just say, when life was a lot more dangerous and people were dying left and right, whether it was from childbirth or just from predators. I don't know how you could see like God being benevolent. I think a benevolent God is honestly a privileged perspective to have. Like, we must have a certain level of wealth and technology in order to consider God to be benevolent. But that's not even what you said. You said all powerful, all knowing, all loving. Okay, so yeah, all loving was the way that I make sense of all powerful and all knowing is quite intuitive in terms of experience, Brahman. It's like, as far as each person's concerned, God, whatever it is, has full control over the emotions that you experience in the moment, and therefore all powerful makes sense. And it's all knowing because anything that you can think or understand or see is already through the lens of, your conscious awareness. So therefore all knowing. It knows everything you know and more because it fills up this space. Yo, Gavin's March. I prefer the Gnostic view of a malevolent, chaotic God. Honestly, that makes more sense to me. Like I guess the Greeks kind of had that, right? It was kind of, the gods were all kind of chaotic at that point. They were all just like punishing people. Yeah, how did people manage when they thought that there was this whole realm of gods just like fighting? And that's what like a thunderstorm was. That's what what people embody when you see a certain personality. You like see the God acting through them. Like that's a scary time. Gnosis time, boys. We are about to ascend. The Gnostics have entered the chat. I'm not a Gnostic, lol. I just find it more interesting a concept than more modern religions. Yahweh was a storm god. Wow. Yahweh. Yahweh. You appease them with offerings. Okay. I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's kind of like you pay to go to heaven. It's a pretty chill setup to have. All right, I'm going into God mode. Give me 1 second. All right, we're back. All right. Oh, we never really finished through on this whole thing. I was curious what the difference between These are now we're dealing with concepts where a subset of us is going to understand Brahman, a subset's going to understand Dasein, and like none of us is going to understand both of these. So I'm sorry. This is the least accessible topic we could talk about, but this one's from Being in Time, and this one's from Advaita Vedanta. But yeah, what's the difference between these? Starting point, the absolute is ultimate reality. The human being as the site of understanding being. Realization of non-dual. Okay, clarifying what it means to be. So yeah, I would take though Heidegger's view to be a little more broad than simply just understanding what it means to be. But maybe you could just say everything falls under that category, even the feelings that we experience when we're seeing something that we recognize. For example, Apollo punishes the Greeks in the Iliad because they refused to give back a priest's daughter. So you can't be naughty. How did he punish them? Like I'm always curious if the punishment could be something that people experienced and just made sense of through the god, similar to like how, we were talking about how the flood could easily be just made sense of in terms of where people were. And that floods would have happened. So, but if like someone got like struck by lightning because they did something bad, then that would be pretty coincidental. The substratum of all existence. Okay, so there's like a conceptual difference, but I feel like they're touching on very similar things. I see the conceptual difference, but to me it seems that they both are an account of our conscious experience. So was it Maya? What was the one that was the reduction that I was talking about? We could go in this direction. Was it? I could have sworn we had something like Maya was here. Actually, I could probably just type this in. Right, is the power of illusion or ignorance. So Maya could be a correlate of no, I wouldn't say lowercase b, being inauthentic being, or concretely lowercase b being, etc. All right, we'll just play with that one. But you're a Noah's Ark literalist. Is that what a Noah's Ark literalist is? I mean, in the same vein as we talk about in the document, maybe we should actually just open up the document for this guy. Epilogue. The pragmatic bedrock of wisdom. Yeah, we can ground the story of wisdom in the immediate practical challenges of survival, specifically looking at the two primary theaters of action where humanity always operated, the physical and the social. Okay, so... The process of organizing pragmatic knowledge into a coherent hierarchy inevitably led the mind to grapple with the ultimate context for that hierarchy. The foundational story is about the nature of reality itself, from which all other meanings derive their significance. The core challenge for these foundational narratives was not just practical but phenomenological, to make sense of the powerful, involuntary nature of the experienced world. As we have established, every human must contend with the same fundamental mechanisms of subjective experience, the raw, often overwhelming forces of emotion, the authoritative voice of conscience that seems to come from beyond the self, and the profound feeling of certainty that accompanies coherence, making them feel like revelations from an unseen source. The constant confrontation with powerful external forces, likely shaped a fundamental mode of thinking that affected how people made sense of all experience. When confronted with an overwhelming feeling of guilt or a sudden flash of creative inspiration, experiences that feel as though they happen to us rather than being generated by us, the mind would naturally attribute these internal events to an external source, a spirit, an ancestor, a god. This process gives structure and narrative form to the complex and often contradictory forces that shape our experience, the competing motivational structures we all feel, the pull between caution and exploration, between individual desires and communal duty, could be conceptualized as a pantheon of spirits with different domains and personalities. These external spirits and gods thus functioned as fundamental abstract patterns, giving a name, character, and causal power to the invisible forces of the psyche and the world, with significant conceptual implications for how both the self and reality were understood. For these early people, there was likely no distinction between what is and what is sacred. The sacred was the fundamental grammar of reality. This sacred layer provided the ultimate context for the pragmatic wisdom discussed previously. The rule, "don't eat the mushroom," was no longer just a practical safety tip derived from a negative experience. It was a divine law, a command from reality itself. So, I mean, this doesn't really touch on exactly what we were talking about, where, you know, people would see external things happen and they would make sense of it through that same layer. But I think that that's kind of implied. So I do think that over time there were many floods in the areas where these stories were made, especially around the Fertile Crescent, where these floods could like really mess things up. And yeah, over time that would be an archetypal story, and I think humans would make sense of it. So these are obviously speculations I'm making. I'm saying that this is quite plausible, and it's more plausible than the idea of a God coming down and saying that I'm going to flood you. But people would make sense of it as we messed up, so therefore, you know, God punished us. You know, we were naughty, so Zeus struck someone with lightning. Whatever it is. That would be my take, and I think that makes decent sense. But yeah, okay. Plausible reading. You're absolutely right to see the experiential continuity between the two. While they differ in ontology and vocabulary, they both start from lived experience and question how reality discloses itself through it. The shared terrain, phenomenology of disclosure. Both systems, despite their metaphysical distance, are concerned with how the real is disclosed to consciousness. In Advaita, what appears as the world is a projection of Maya upon the ground of consciousness. This isn't merely a metaphysical illusion, it's an experiential distortion, the misapprehension of one's true nature as the limited ego. So if it's usually an illusion, does that mean that, do they think that once you do get in touch with the meditative practices that you can then see the truth? I think that's what we kind of read. So I guess Heidegger's view would be a little more extreme or strict, where even when you get into that state, you can't actually see the, but you know, I'm probably messing that one up because we did talk about that. I think you mentioned that they think something similarly. So I wonder if anyone in ancient Greece was struck by lightning. There's gotta be. Was anyone in ancient Greece, did I just mess? Okay, no, Greece, struck by lightning. And I should say, like, not in like a mythical story, but like an actual account. All right, we'll let that one brew. The shared terrain, both systems. Okay, we said that. Being is disclosed through Dazein's existence, but most of the time Dasein lives in inauthenticity, absorbed in the they, taking being for granted, forgetting its own temporality. Both diagnose an everyday fallen mode of awareness where truth is concealed, and both propose a transformative disclosure where truth is unveiled. All right, I'm gonna skip past this because this is not really important. Final reflection. Began to speak of the event of being as a self-revealing mystery. Language that converges strikingly with the Vedantic Sat-Kit. He never endorsed non-dualism, but he came very close to describing a non-objectifiable openness akin to Brahman consciousness. All right. Both describe the drama of concealment and disclosure that constitutes human okay. I'm going to keep this open while we go to the video. We got a deletion. A myth, yeah. Also, why are storm gods almost always the most powerful? Probably because storms were the most powerful stuff, right? Like storms could just ruin an entire town or whatever you're in. Like it can destroy your camp. It can destroy your city. What were we doing? Okay, I did not find a reliable, non-mythical ancient Greek source that definitively records a specific individual being struck by lightning. What ancient sources say about lightning? Ancient authors like Pliny the Elder and Seneca discuss lightning, its causes, and its dangers in works of natural philosophy, but most in general or theological terms, not as detailed case studies of particular individuals. Such writers often treat lightning as an act of the gods, or as a natural phenomenon to be explained rather than a forensic narrative of who was hit. Challenges in finding a named case, survivals. Yeah, I mean, this was a long time ago. Genre and style. In antiquity, a struck by lightning event would often be interpreted mythically or religiously, and such a narrative might be relocated to myth or legend over time rather than treated as a purely factual, mundane event. What about the sea? Earthquakes, tornadoes? I'm sure it's all the same. You're saying why aren't those as strong? Well, because the sea's over there. I'm speculating, by the way, but I'm guessing the sea's over there. It doesn't really do anything. It swallows people up for sure. So if everyone lived on the sea, then we'd be upset about the sea, or we'd think the sea is crazy. But chances are there's not too many floods. Or when there are floods, they're caused by storms, and there's not too many just like freak tsunamis or anything. Plus, these guys I don't think it would be tsunami territory in the, can we just get like Google Maps? This is gonna just straight up dox me right off the bat. All right, well, here we go. Yeah, I don't think we're getting tsunamis over here. I don't think we're getting tsunamis over here or over here. Maybe we're I actually have no idea about tsunamis. Like where do they go? What do they do? You'd think the seafaring Greeks would care more about Poseidon. Well, like where did the seafaring Greeks go? Like I don't think they were out here as much as they were in here, and what's going on in here is not as crazy as what goes on out here. So, I mean, I'm just like straight up speculating here, but yeah, I think it was probably pretty chill in the Mediterranean Sea compared to what we, think about when we think about the crazy travel that you have to do to like get to Hawaii or something like that. Like, this is insane. The fact that people were on Hawaii like really early on is kind of nuts. Okay. They went all over the Mediterranean. Okay, well, if that's the case, then yeah, I don't know what the patterns are like that. I would still say that chances are, because storms were more prevalent for most people, that they would be a stronger might in terms of the stories. That would be my speculation. Tornadoes, though, I don't know. Chances are tornadoes are pretty rare in certain areas. So we'd have to see in which ancient places were tornadoes actually happening. And same with earthquakes. we could probably do a deep dive on that, but perhaps we should stay on course here and get something done. Out of curiosity, as you probably remember, I am Jewish by religion, and I'm curious if you're familiar with Judaism or Jewish history at all. I am only familiar with whatever would have been talked about within the Christian lens. So nothing specifically Jewish that is, perhaps in the Torah, but not in the Bible. I just wouldn't. I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to all these things. I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to a lot of things, to be honest. But maybe slowly but surely we'll get over some of that. All right, here we go.
Imagine, thousands of years ago, it starts with this question, and it straight away answers that it is consciousness. And then it talks about the nature of consciousness and how we know this nature of consciousness, and that's what sets us free from unhappiness or sorrow.
In the fight against
Alzheimer's, my gosh.
Now.
How frequently are we going to get these?
The conclusion of Advaita Vedanta was that we are, in a sense, profoundly mistaken about our own nature. So when we try to find out who or what we are, we find that what we thought we were, without thinking too much, what we intuitively take ourselves to be, this little body. And it seems to be a tiny part of a vast material universe. And taking ourselves to be this, and with some kind of thinking going on inside, a kind of a bundle of thoughts and living matter.
Another thing that I really like about this is that, and I talk about this as well, because we know that what characterizes our entire experience is this consciousness, then interpretations of like, oh, we're just a speck on this huge universe, like interpretations that take in the vast size or absurdity of the universe or the absurdity of evolution or whatever, like it's not as close to home as consciousness. Like consciousness is the thing that we have to deal with, and regardless of how small we are in the universe, like things matter to us, and we can do things such that things matter to us in a very positive way. So it's like the nihilistic view is not one that we entertain too much, because we know how to get out of that nihilistic view. And it's not of learning about some external God, and it's not learning that we aren't a speck, but it's doing very pragmatic things like taking up a goal and pursuing it and being healthy and having good relationships and stuff like that. And that'll make your world feel very meaningful. So, just because like certain thoughts can make us feel not meaningful, we have clear mechanisms that we have to make clear in our document, like ways to actually feel meaning and emotionally rewarding. Is this Bernardo Kastrup in the video? Yes it is. At least I think it is, right? Yeah.
Which is very small, very weak, subject to all sorts of illnesses and accidents and disappointments in life, and doomed to certain death in a very short time. And we seem to inhabit this vast, uncaring physical universe, which is going to go on. And we are not going to go on. We're going to die very soon. So this idea, this unquestioned idea about our reality, this, according to Advaita Vedanta, is at the source of our unhappiness. As long as we think we are that, and we don't question it, there's really no way of breaking out of this deep existential trap we find ourselves in. And Advaita says the truth couldn't be farther from this. It's almost the other end of the spectrum, It says that we are actually not bits of matter. We are unlimited consciousness, being, consciousness, bliss, existence, consciousness, bliss, Sat, Chit, Ananda. These are the terms used in Advaita Vedanta. In fact, one interesting thing is that it just occurred to me very late, just maybe in recent times, that the three biggest questions of philosophy, basically all of philosophy: what is real? So metaphysics tries to answer that. And how do we know anything or experience or know anything at all? Epistemology tries to answer that. And what's the point of it all? Is there, like beauty, goodness, morality, all of these questions? So the term used in modern philosophy is axiology, I think. There used to be different branches like ethics and aesthetics. They've all been grouped together under sort of what is good and beautiful. Now, what struck me was the Advaita Vedanta view of the ultimate nature of things, which is Sat, Chit, Ananda. It seems to be a direct answer to these three questions of philosophy. What is real? Pure being.
So I feel the same way about our document. Like we answer all these questions. I think it was it the Questions of Philosophy by Bernard? Is it by Russell? The Problems of Philosophy. Bertrand. Oh my gosh, I was thinking Bernard. Bertrand Russell. Very similar. I think this is. Very similar to what he just mentioned, but more problems than he just mentioned. So appearance and reality, the existence of matter, the nature of matter, all these problems through a lens that looks into that connects the science of our experience and our understanding to a philosophy of now like conceptualizing like what it is we understand and how we experience the world. Like you answer all these questions. Like they're all just, I mean, granted, they're not answered in a absolute way. Like it's not like we know that there is a single way that the world actually is, and that's reality. But we get to answer these questions. Like we get to answer these questions in a way that's like abstract enough to actually put this all to rest. But we're not gonna, this is what the Germans try to do. Right, and I would say that unless you have the grounding of the science to actually show why these things are the way that they are, systematizers. You're, okay, I see. Yeah, so like, I would say that the Germans, at least from what I understand of them, like they are creating like concrete rule sets, which is inappropriate. The cool thing about the linguistic philosophers is they point out that so much of what we understand is subjective and inferred, and therefore, like that blows everything up. So that's why this the way that we go about part one is like really nice, where we're pointing out a way that we can think about these things that's in line with the science that we know. This is only one way that we can talk about these things. We are purporting that the way that we're talking about them in the document is beneficial, whether that is because it's practical or it's accessible or whatnot. And we also point out that we recognize that because of the very contingent nature of meaning and what people infer, we have a responsibility to update the document when people suggest better ways to explain something, or when culture changes. We have to keep updating these things. So yeah, we get to answer the questions by pointing out that the questions are almost, they're pointing you in the wrong direction, because they're almost implying that there's a singular answer to these questions. But in the same way, like by having the fuller understanding, you could see how you could answer those questions in a way that is very much satisfying and in line with what we know about the science. So let's continue.
Being, isness, existence itself is real. And how do we know anything? How do we experience anything? Well, this existence is not a dull, dead object, material object. It's conscious, or it is consciousness itself. It is existence and consciousness. There's a new term used nowadays, presence. I like that thing. Presence means something that is, but it's also aware. So it is Sat, pure being, limitless being, also Chit, pure consciousness, which enables all experience and knowledge. But that very same thing, that ultimate reality, is also Ananda, the Sanskrit term for bliss or complete fulfillment. So that's an answer to the question of what is the point of all this? Is there at all a point, and what's the point? So what is real? Sat. How do we know anything at all? All experience is powered by this very Sat, which is Chit or consciousness. And it is also the end of everything, the goal or the purpose of everything. And Advaita Vedanta's, the stunning breakthrough was that this ultimate nature of things, Sat, Chit, Ananda, is you. You, the spiritual seeker, all of us, our real nature is this Satchitananda. So the great formulation in the Upanishads, Tat Tvam Asi, that you are, that the ultimate nature of things, you, the sentient being, you are that. And once we realize this, once we come to know it and we see it as a living reality, at the deepest level, all our problems are solved. So if you are Sat, pure being, you're not born, neither do you die.
Once again, like through the lens of what we know about like neuroplasticity and whatnot, like I don't think, I mean, I guess you could say that realizing this is ambiguous and like it actually means that you kind of internalize this, but just hearing that conceptualization doesn't change this in your mind. It's kind of ambiguous as to when you actually like internalize it. So you know, through the lens of look at the yogi's brain, they're popping off. Through the lens of neuroplasticity, it's like not only do you have to like be exposed to this thought and then think it, but you have to kind of study it in such a way where you know, come to really build up those connections in your brain that make you realize what it is that he's trying to say here. And that's when perhaps things get more clear to you. But it's not like you just understand this in the sense that we just heard it once and therefore we understand what he's trying to say. And then on that, I guess, you know, the thing to point out is, and I think this is in line with Advaita Vedanta, is that like when he's talking about the self, he's referring to the condition of consciousness as the self, as like the true self, as opposed to whatever type of explicit formulation you come up with in your head when you think about who you are. So even when I'm like, the paradoxical thing about talking about these types of topics is even me, is that even when I talk about the self being the full consciousness, I am falling prey to the, you know, trying to explicate what I am even in that way. But that's besides the point. This is a conceptualization that characterizes these very abstract concepts that help us think about, you know, what's really going on in our experience. And obviously we can never pin down consciousness. So that's why it's so large. It's you know, it's larger than any explicit meaning you could even think of. And you know, we can get closer by talking about feelings. Like that's why affective neuroscience is so important, because all of these things are within the realm of consciousness. So to understand these basic emotions that we experience through our life, we're kind of understanding the behavior of our consciousness in a way that's afforded by modern science as opposed to observation, which observation is really great. Like these philosophies are grounded in close observation, and not just close observation, but these observations over time, so that, you know, you could get more sophisticated views of what we're experiencing, and you know, we're attempting to characterize the behavior of consciousness, but you know, intuition's only going to get you so far, and you know, science is only going to get you so far at the end of the day. That's you know, how big consciousness is. But you know, by putting these together, and you know, this document is very much influenced by a type of thought similar to Advaita Vedanta. Hopefully we get something that is very intuitive and also matches with the science, and then is also practical. So that's the whole point of trying to find the freedom through our understanding, or in our understanding. I could take a ChatGPT recommendation. We're talking about cases of people getting struck by lightning in Greece. So I think we're I couldn't say no.
The fear of death is gone. If you are Chit, you are limitless awareness. All knowledge, all experience, you are that which powers all of it. Because of that, it all happens. And Ananda, bliss, you don't have to seek for fulfillment from little bits of matter and energy floating out there. Rather, You are the point of it all. You meaning that ultimate reality. So this was the grand conclusion of Advaita Vedanta. Now,
This is
what do we
funny.
do
It looks
about
like he monologues for
Our
this whole
problem is
time.
we don't see it that way. We don't understand ourselves or the universe that way. And Advaita's purpose is to sort of educate us to shift our paradigm so that we come to see the world and ourselves in that way. And for this, they give methods. And the Advaitic methods are basically sheer philosophy. There are different ways in spiritual life. The most common path in spiritual life is devotion. You believe in
Right, I
God
think I'm
and
going to jump ahead to the different topics here. So let's see what Bernardo says on the Western mind. What is the David Chalmers extended mind hypothesis and how supported is it by cognitive science? All right, I think we've actually covered this because we now have an account of homeostasis and embodied cognition, the theory of embodied cognition encompasses a diverse family of perspectives that offer a powerful framework for making sense of how cognition is not confined to the brain but emerges from the fundamental biological imperative of life regulation. Granted, these are the embodied cognition goes larger than that, but our thoughts, perceptions, and understanding emerge from a deep integration between brain, body, and environment. So we look to embodied cognition, the Stanford Encyclopedia. I guess we don't name the Fori. Do we even mention extended here? Yeah, I guess not. Well, we're careful with the extended approach, but because we do talk about very much extended cognition topics in the sense that our phenomenology includes a discussion of, what happens when we pick up a pen, right? It's like, I don't think about the pen. You could say that I am now, that's extended cognition. That said, it really comes down to what is actually affecting the homeostasis here in conjunction with my deliberate thoughts and my conscious experience. And the pen is certainly touching my fingers, so there's certainly signals of sense of involved in that. But then there's also the visual sensation, or not sensation, but the visual senses of what I see myself doing. And then, even though there's the immediate sight and immediate feeling of the pen, there's a lot of mechanisms that are involved in predicting what's going to happen, or leveraging my autonomic movements and habits and motor movements. So there's a lot going on where I can just move without having to think about the pen, and I'm really thinking about what I'm trying to write. And so, and I don't have to think about my handwriting. It's just I'm thinking about whatever goal I have right now. So you could describe that as extended cognition, but it's really, you could ground this stuff in the matter. You could ground this in matter, in the molecules or the neuron communication, etc. The extended mind argues that cognitive processes can extend beyond the boundaries of the brain and body into the surrounding environment when external tools or systems function as integral parts of those processes. Yeah, it's just, what do you mean by that? What are you trying to imply? So it certainly challenges traditional views that cognition happens solely in the head. This is why we leverage embodied cognition, because it's certainly not just in the head. It extends to our entire body. But it doesn't, unless there's a way that I feel the insides of this pen, which maybe you could say I do. I could feel the heat of this pen, or I could feel things that move inside of it through like vibrations. But all of that's still interfacing with my body at some point. So that's where it ends, right? It's very difficult though when we get into the sight aspect of this, where, you know, when we see everything in our environment, does that count as, you know, is that part of our cognition? Especially since we can do things with our behavior that affects the environment, and then it's technically a feedback loop. So, like, you could take an interpretation in which the environment is part of our cognition, but I think that would be slightly inappropriate. I think when we talk cognition, we are talking about brain body, like taking in senses, taking in an internal state, and then leveraging all of the mechanisms that keep it operating and regulating towards whatever goal we're doing, or towards just general survival. So the EMH challenges traditional views that are in the head. Okay, instead it proposes a functionalist view. What matters for something to count as part of the mind is how it functions, not where it is located. Right. I mean, this is like almost like a semantic argument, and yeah, there's no right answer. You could just be compelled by this type of interpretation or not, provided you don't try to assert that something is happening, like, you know, our brain operations are actually affecting external things directly without, you know, without having to go through the body and our behavior, etc. The central criteria for extension, sometimes called the parity principle, is if an external process functions the same way as an internal cognitive process and the agent uses it seamlessly and automatically, then it is part of the cognitive system. Fair enough. You know, you could make that case, and it's not that it doesn't not sound compelling. So, theoretical implications. This hypothesis redefines the boundary of the mind. It makes cognition distributed, involving interaction between brain, body, and the world. It underpins ideas in embodied, embedded, and inactive cognition, often summarized as the 4E approaches to mind. It challenges internalist assumptions in cognitive science. So I would say, to answer your question, it is very much supported by cognitive science that our thoughts and our deliberate behavior, and even our not deliberate behavior, does involve processes throughout the entire body, and the entire body interfaces with the external world, whether that's through photons hitting our eyes or matter touching up upon matter. I guess photons count as matter, but whether it's, you know, physical things touching up on our peripheral nervous system. Yeah. Support and criticism. Many findings in cognitive science and neuroscience align with or complement the EMH. Distributed cognition studies of ship navigation and cockpit operations show that cognitive processes span across people and tools. Body cognition research on how bodily states influence reasoning and decision making supports the idea that cognition is not purely brain bound. Tool integration studies, neuroimaging, and behavioral studies show that tools can become incorporated into the brain's body schema during skilled use. Right, and we could build up like complex subsets of connections in our brain based on whatever thing that we're dealing with. So, like, you could think about playing the piano, like as taking up a significant part of your brain when you spend a lot of time on it. And so the question is, like, what are you internalizing? Are you internalizing just finger movements, or are you internalizing playing the piano? And that's a similarly philosophical discussion, or a semantic discussion. It's not really important when you get down to what's actually happening. Okay. Many philosophers and scientists argue against fully accepting the EMH causal and constitutive distinction. Critics argue that external tools cause cognitive processes but do not constitute them. Fair enough. The EMH risks making cognition too inclusive. If every useful object counts as part of the mind, the concept becomes trivial. True, as I said, you could just say anything you see is part of now the cognition. And yeah, that does make this whole thing kind of trivial. While related fields like distributed cognition are empirically grounded, the EMH itself is primarily a philosophical argument, not an experimentally established theory. Okay. It's influential but controversial. Fair enough. All right.
Why the Western mind has difficulty with it. And I think one of the fundamental unexamined assumptions that we make is a form of dualism, even when we are promoting a monist metaphysics, such as physicalism, which is supposed to be monist. There is only the physical. To give you some examples, I have been confronted with the following argument against idealism. Bernardo, if I take a needle and I stick it in your arm, that physical event, a needle going into your arm, will cause a mental effect, which is the feeling of pain, which in turn will make you withdraw your arm. So there is obviously an arrow of causation that starts from physical events and go into mental events. If you drink a glass of whiskey, something will change in your conscious inner life. So the arrow of causation comes from physical events to mental events. Therefore, mental events are secondary and physical events are primary. Of course, the misunderstanding here is that it is a form of dualism. It is this distinction between physical events and mental events. And neither physicalism, when understood correctly, nor idealism, when understood correctly, makes these distinctions. For the idealist, that needle going into your arm is a process in consciousness. It is a mental event, mental in the Western sense. It is a mental event that just appears to your observation as a needle going into your arm. But it isn't physical. It's
similar to when we're talking about a needle going into an arm, like theoretically, like what he's doing right now is still one that is experienced. It's like, you know, I always say, like, we have a subjective experience about the physical world. We can't ever just experience the physical world. It's always through our interpretive lens. And it's always conceptual. It's, you know, we're talking about atoms and subatomic particles. We're not talking about whatever is smaller than that. Or, you know, we talk energy, not whatever energy actually is. or gravity, and not what is actually causing gravity. You know, we're talking through concepts that are nice abstractions, categories that allow us to, you know, talk about these things. Granted, we can a property of these concepts, like a property of the physical world, is that it exists regardless of whether we think about it. That's like a property of it, but that doesn't mean that we can ever think about the physical world without going through this conscious lens, interpretive lens. But then, yeah, he's pointing out that when you actually experience that thing, then the needle going in, you are once again not like experiencing the physical world directly. You're experiencing something that's conscious, like a conscious feeling. And yeah, like that it's similar to saying, like, we're not experiencing dopamine, we're experiencing a feeling of positive valence. You know, it's not the molecules themselves that we're feeling in our conscious experience, even though we know the molecules cause the feeling. It's rather a subjective, like, state.
Physicality of it is an appearance. It's a cognitive representation on the screen of perception. The event itself is a mental event, which then causes another mental event, the feeling of pain. But it's very difficult for the Western mind to sort of re-examine its deepest assumptions and realize that a lot of things we take for granted about what's going on, those very things are what is being questioned and what needs to be questioned for us to get to some form of sanity. And there are many other examples of this that I see all around me, like even one of the names you cited, Sam Harris. He was in a podcast, I think last year or the year before, and he was asked by Lex Friedman about idealism. And he gave a dismissive reply based on the notion that it's absurd to think that the entire universe is in your mind. Well, it is absurd, but that's not what idealism says. Idealism is not saying that the entire universe is in your personal mind, corresponding to that entity in consciousness called the body. What idealism says is that the world is a mental process, or a mental in the Western sense. In the West, mind and consciousness, they both arise from the Greek psyche, which also means so we don't have introspective, we haven't had historically enough introspective sophistication to come up with different words for the different aspects of what we are talking about. So forgive my coarse language, I use the word mental in the Western sense, meaning conscious process as well. So the world is mental in that sense. It's a process in consciousness, but not in your ego alone, not in your individual mind alone. There is a transpersonal form of consciousness that in fact you are that. You don't think you are that. But the thing you think you are is a segment of that transpersonal form of consciousness. Therefore, the world is really out there from the ego's perspective. It's not under the control of the ego's whims and fantasies. It's really external in that sense, but it is nonetheless still mental. Just like the thoughts of another person are external to your personal mind, but they are still mental.
Yeah, I think the ambiguity of both of the, or I should say the ambiguity of this idealist description, I think requires the precision of including both of these interpretations. Like I think it's important that we do point out that our understanding of the physical world is one in which it would be there regardless of if anyone was experiencing it. And then we also say that each person's experience is one that's not the physical world itself, but is this grand conscious experience. And yeah, it's just very like it's very difficult to talk about this idea of larger than the ego in a way that doesn't make it sound like you're insinuating that the whole entire physical universe is afforded by your experience, which would be very people could infer very different things from. So I think what's required here is precision. Do VIPs have permanent? I don't know. I think so, but also I know that Streamlabs does our permissions, so I don't know if VIP through through Twitch gives permit abilities. So I would try it out. Maybe this is a try, and then we'll know.
And you can't control them, but they are still mental. So these subtle, simple understandings is what catches the Western mind, because it doesn't investigate what it doesn't know it's doing. If it doesn't know it's making these a priori assumptions, it can't investigate them, it can't critically examine them. And that colors everything else that the Western mind is trying to make sense of, and leads to all kinds of misunderstandings, like Sam Harris misunderstanding idealism as a form of solipsism. And that's a great tragedy.
And let me just interject here.
Yeah,
that
let it
what
rip.
you are advocating, a form of idealism, a kind of refined and well-examined idealism, at no point contradicts science. And scientific materialistic reductionist worldview is one thing. But the beauty of it is, it's not anti-scientific. Every scientific discovery and process and technology would be as valid and as effective in your worldview. And it would also have the advantage of explaining or integrating.
For over 130 years.
We got Gop. A double. Nice.
Isn't that true?
That's absolutely true. I mean, if somebody comes up with a metaphysics that says if you drop an object, it will fall up and not down, then one's metaphysics is simply wrong. And I mean, I have many shortcomings, but I'm not that stupid to propose something that
videos.
Nice. True observation. The problem is that many of us conflate axiomatic assumptions for empirical observations. For instance, we think that the existence of a strictly physical world outside mind is an empirical observation. It's not. Whatever you observe is an experience on the screen of perception, and it's not separate from mind. It's your account of that experience that leads to the abstraction of a world outside mind. That's not an empirical observation, but we mix it up. We think, for instance, that materialism underlies science, and it's an integral part of the scientific method. It's not. Science studies nature's behavior, not what nature is. When you set up an experiment, nature responds in the form of a behavior. Nature does something in response to your experimental conditions. And that's what science tries to model and predict. Science tries to predict what nature will do next. It doesn't make statements about what the nature is. Whenever there is a statement in science about what nature is, it's a convenient fiction. For instance, Newton said, there is this invisible force of gravity that attracts the moon and the earth and locks them, one in the orbit of another. That's a convenient fiction. It means nature behaves as if there were such a force. But then, 300 years later, Einstein came around, and that convenient fiction was no longer convenient. There is no such invisible force. There is something else. There is the invisible fabric of space-time that bends and twists, and that's why the moon orbits the Earth. But that still is a convenient fiction, because now with loop quantum gravity, there is no such a thing as fundamental time. Time is now derivative. It's epiphenomenal. It's not in the fabric of nature itself. So convenient fictions change over time. They give us a way to think about our predictive models, but they are not metaphysical statements. So science doesn't change at all because our metaphysical understanding of what is has evolved. But people, it's hard for people to see this.
Right.
It's a lot to throw at them, by the way.
These two things, that the known and the unknown are both in consciousness.
That said, you know what? I am on 1.3 speed, so perhaps that was actually a lot more manageable without the speed up.
And subject and object are also both in consciousness. So it's not an individual subject which dreams up.
Yeah, look at this. This is another thing that we assert in our document.
Subject and object are also both in consciousness.
Right. This is why I say that we have a subjective experience of an objective world. They're both there. It's the objective world is the thing that's appearing in consciousness, but we use subjective to describe that it's appearing in consciousness. So that's why I always say that.
So it's not an individual subject which dreams up the entire objective universe. Our senior most member here, Bill Conrad, he's 98.
Wait. So I think then he just said objective in the other way, right? That dreams up the entire. He probably should have said physical universe, but.
Our senior most member here, Bill Conrad, he's 98. He's a veteran of the Second World War. He used to fly bombers on the Pacific Theater. He said to me, "No, Swami, you're not right. The world doesn't exist in your consciousness. The world exists, and you come as a conscious being and you experience it, and I can prove it to you." So he says, "Let's put a camera in this room and switch it on, and then both you and I, we can leave this room, and then we come back in, and I assure you, when you look at the pictures in the camera, you will see an empty room without any conscious beings. So that proves that the room exists without your consciousness or my consciousness." And I said to him, "Bill, in your consciousness, in your awareness, you thought about this experiment. In your awareness, in awareness itself, we put up this camera. And in your awareness, we left the room. And in your awareness, you came back into the room. And in your awareness, you saw the picture showing an empty room. At which point have you or I stepped outside awareness to experience things?" And of course, there's no answer to this. It's a trick question. It's a trivial question. If experience is consciousness plus object, then there's no possibility of experiencing anything without consciousness.
This is like the perfect scenario to talk past people, though. Like so this is what I would say. Like in this type of conversation, you don't want to assert one over the other. You don't want to assert one way that is correct. That I think this type of conversation to be most accessible or effective and intuitive or whatnot would be to describe both of the ways that we could look at this and to explain why we think one versus the other or why we think of both. So it requires that you add a little bit of precision here with nuance. You can be quite ambiguous if you just assert that one of these is right in some way, because people are going to have their own intuitions about what you're trying to say. Had some Bojangles for dinner, and it was delicious, in my honest opinion. Do you like Bojangles, out of curiosity? I don't think there's a Bojangles near me. I don't think they... Where are Bojangles? Oh my gosh, what's going on here? So I'm in the Pennsylvania area, so let me try to see if I could get a Bojangles. Maybe. I'll look it up. It's been a while though since I've had Famous Chicken and Biscuits. Oh my gosh. All right, it's a little bit away, unfortunately. But maybe I'll keep that in mind and then try it when I'm over there. It's been a while since you've had I was gonna say fast food. Is Bojangles a fast food place? I think it counts. Like, it's been a while since I've had even Chick-fil-A. I gotta get some Chick-fil-A. I'm the type of weirdo that eats like the same thing every single day, except for when I'm like going out with friends. Like I'm pretty boring / healthy in the house, and I'm in the house quite a lot. What do I usually eat? Well, recently it's been a Greek yogurt with bananas and nuts. For lunch, it's usually, or it's actually been for a while now, it's been fried eggs on hummus with salsa on it. The prices aren't looking good right now. The prices for what? For Chick-fil-A? And then dinner's usually kind of like a free-for-all, but it's, you know, I'll do some, I don't know. I'm largely like, I guess I'm effectively vegetarian when I'm home, but I'm not a vegetarian because I don't mind like ordering meat when I'm out. It's just I try to stay pretty clean when I'm home. They're charging fine dining prices for the drive-thru. What? Is this Chick-fil-A or is this Bojangles? I gotta get one of those trays. I gotta get a whole Chick-fil-A tray. Could I get a Chick-fil-A tray and then freeze it? Would that work? The only issue is that stuff is like, that stuff is drowned in in oils that you probably don't want, but I don't know. I gotta stop thinking about health at some point. All right. What do we got going on here? On Johnny Come Lately. I don't know what that might be referring to. Oh, in general. I'm exaggerating, but yeah, I do get it. Energy Dumpster, we might have to do the Chomsky one next week. Just because we're taking a long time, and I am quite excited to actually do this, so I might do this right now. Just get an air fryer. Oh. I should probably just get an air fryer. I should get one of those Ninja products that have like 20 in one. Maybe we're gonna see one in here, so let's give it a rip. I do want to actually watch more of this as well, so I should keep this in the watch later. Same with this. Is this still in the watch later? Yeah. All right, here we go. Electric Salmon. This is what it's all about. Best innovations of 2025 by Time.com. We don't care how you chose the list. We just want to see some cool stuff. Robotics, advancement in automation, AI, and robotics. We got Figure 3. I think this is what we've been seeing recently. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos of Figure 3, but it looks pretty good. What do we got? Print textures at home. It's a UV printer. I'm not sure how that is much crazier. Personal videographer, that's cool. And what happens if we click one of these? Is this going to go to a Time? Oh, okay, it does go to a Time article. Oh, wow, this is going into a larger list of all these things. Right? All right, accessibility. American Printing House, Monarch, Braille, and graphics on a table. Oh, this is incredible. Wow. This is how you learn Braille. This is awesome. Lotus Ring. Point and click smart home ring. Are you guys familiar with Lotus Ring? Relying on crutches to walk and would often leave lights on rather than struggle to get up to adjust them. Eventually, the former Apple engineer quit his job to build Lotus, an accessibility device that lets you turn on or off a light switch or TV simply by pointing at it. Press a button on the rechargeable ring. The battery lasts 4 to 6 months, and an infrared signal triggers specialized covers that flip switches without any rewiring apps or the need to get up. It's like a universal remote you can wear. It's pretty cool. Really cool. Tilt grip stick. Okay, an accessible adaptable lip balm. How does that win invention of the year? Aerospace. Okay, we got more satellites, maybe. Firefly, Blue Ghost, new strides on the moon. Early fire detection. That's cool. But none of this stuff is stuff that we can consume as consumers, so it's not as fun. Eyes on the skies. This is probably pretty neat as well. Agriculture. Future feed Asparagopsis supplement. Cleaning up cow burps and methane emissions. Oh, this is cool. Yo. We got to look into that one. Innov Global Coffee Breeding Network. What is happening there? I like coffee. Cutting farm chemicals. Okay. Vineyard manager. More efficient harvesting. Climate-proof vanilla farming. All right, but what about... All right, so a major source of methane, a potent greenhouse gas with nearly 80 times the global warming power of carbon dioxide over a 2-decade period. This is going to reduce those emissions. Scientists developed a seaweed-based feed supplement for cattle. Wow. Can reduce emissions by up to 80%. That's incredible. Wow. Is licensing the technology to seaweed growers in Hawaii, Australia, and New Zealand, and Europe. It could be some time before it is commercially approved in the U.S., Well, it depends who's in power. But also it probably doesn't. Chances are people are not going to be happy about this. A proposal to sell the supplement is undergoing FDA review. Nice. All right. Then we've got the Global Coffee Breeding Network. The coffee varieties grown today were developed before climate change and diseases like leaf rust threatened crops. To ensure cups of joe for generations to come, the nonprofit formed the Innov Global Coffee Breeding Network, bringing together companies and government-affiliated research institutions to develop new varieties. This year, researchers in 9 countries, including Costa Rica and Rwanda, have begun breeding trials. Farmers will likely have to wait until 2037 for the new, more resilient varieties, but that's still sooner than ever before. We're creating the best genetics by working together at scale. This is really crazy. We might get a coffee upgrade in 2037. That's exciting. All right. Apps and software. Here we go. Adobe Podcast Enhanced Speech Influencer Audio Tools. Well, we're an influencer now, so. Buzzkill Notification Manager Focus for Android users. I don't know how to pronounce that. Civiform, simplifying access to public services. That's cool. Corporate deepfake detection. Oh, wow. This is incredible because companies are going to have to deal with this now. Oh, that's terrifying. Zone down payment boost program, more affordable home buying. All right, let's look into this guy. We got all these podcasts are booming, and Adobe's latest AI speech enhancement tool is giving them more polish. In November 2024, the company released version 2 of Enhanced Speech with Adobe Podcast. Its online suite for podcasting tools. Enhanced speech instantly removes noise, echo, and distortion from audio captured in busy public places or in rooms with poor acoustics. You can have the most brilliant story to tell, but if it's muffled, people tune out. All right, so this is not something we're going to need while we're still sitting in our... Actually, there sometimes cars come, but I don't think that's going to be that big of a deal. All right, but that is cool. Artificial intelligence, breakthrough AI tools that transform industries and daily life. We've got ultra energy efficient chips. Okay, I'm guessing we're talking processors. Maybe. Claude Sonnet 4. Wow, a quicker AI model for the masses. Wow, they beat out the other AI inventions, though. I guess ChatGPT was probably like last year's or 2 years ago. Data Snipper, DocuMine, AI-powered financial auditing. We got DeepSeek. Okay, a low-cost LLM challenger. That makes sense. Desktop AI supercomputer, connecting AI agents. All right. And then we've got, are these AI as well? No, this is completely unrelated. This is weather. Vibe coding for professionals. What does that mean? Vibe coding. Is this just using AI for coding? Or windborne systems, Atlas filling weather forecasting gaps. Oh, this is the one that has like incredible. Was this Google? Maybe not. It's closing data gaps with Atlas. Its growing constellation of long-lasting weather balloons that measure temperature, wind speed, pressure, humidity, and other factors. The company feeds the data into its own AI model to produce forecasts more accurate than those of government agencies. Pretty cool. Warp agentic development environment. The trend of vibe coding, tech notices using AI to write and refine code, hasn't come without catches. For example, companies are now hiring engineers to fix errors in vibe-coded software. That's great. Warp has taken a different approach with an agent-based alternative to traditional coding interfaces. Wow, okay. Launched in June, Warp's agentic development environment, ADE, allows software engineers to task AI agents with developing their code, then intervene when they notice errors. You get to see a really clear plan of what the agent is going to do, and you get to adjust that plan with the agent. All right, so what's going on here? We can ask follow-ups. We can tell it what to do. It shows the task. So this is very similar to the VS Code extension that I forget who it was. Maybe one of you guys mentioned. And that was something that was similar, where you kind of tell it what to do. It's going to tell you what it's about to do, and then you can like change that before it actually goes and does it. But this is cool, where you could actually review the changes. What is it? This is... Okay, and then you review all the changes in like a very Git looking way. All right, well, that's pretty sweet. Moving on, beauty. We got exceptional infrared hair dryer. That's cool. Foundational. Actually, we should be clicking on some of these. These could be gift ideas. We'll see. A foundational printer for all skin tones. All right. Keratin rejuvenator. Nail treatment. Oh my gosh, what's going on here? Whole body skincare device. That one I might actually look at right now. I'm a big fan of skincare. Step forward for hyperpigmentation. What does that mean? A therapy to reverse balding. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Are these more beauty? Wow, they go crazy. They did more beauty than they did AI. Okay, what's so crazy about Philips this year's Norelco? Cooling LED face mask. When are we supposed to cool? All right, this one I'm reading as well. I'm going to use this as a separator for ones that I don't really care to read. What is this? Are you asking what are we doing? Like, what is the activity, or what are these individual products? The activities, we're reading through Time.com's best inventions of 2025, and we've arrived at the beauty section. Theraface depuffing wand for I'm just curious what all these are doing. Like, what is happening here? Cool to the touch laser hair removal. Okay, nice. Oh, is this something that, do I need to use laser hair removal for, like, probably not, right? Nah, probably not. Like, I don't think this, like, chances are I would only want to use laser hair removal, like, for eyebrow shape, or can I do it on my face? Is that allowed? Like, can I just shave the parts that, you know, I don't want to, or laser hair remove parts that I don't want coming back every time? Connectivity and communication. Laser communications from space. Nice. Friend finder. Oh, crowd compass. So we got to read that one. Faster data transmission. A better fiber core, fiber cable. Netgear Nighthawk. The Catholics won't be happy about this. Which part? The laser communications or the friend finder, or any of the stuff that I talked about up here? Consumer electronics. Here we go. We are consumers. We like consuming. Spend, spend, spend. That's what it's all about. We've got a dash cam. Smarter incident detection. Okay. That's something to read. An immersive 360-degree drone camera. Oh, this is... I want to look into this. Oh, no, I've clicked it. We're back. We're back. AirPods Pro 3. I know this product, but I'm going to just read it anyway because it's pretty cool. What is up with the power grip? Point and charge. What's special about this? What is special about this? I gotta check it out. Switch 2 charging case. Keep gaming longer. Oh, this is for the Switch 2. That's cool. Lots of storage in a tiny drive. It's a mini SSD. Okay. Cool. The cult of the body. Ah, the most prevalent pagan concept throughout all time. There's reason why Socrates was said to not be that handsome. Wow. Yep. Yeah, I'm sure it's frowned upon. Is it frowned upon for me to shave? Like, what's the extent to which we shouldn't do anything with our body because it's natural? All right, what is this? Oh, we're still in consumer electronics. We get more consumer. We get even more. All right, this is exciting. A screen-free digital camera. Oh, how does that work? Okay, it's probably just you take pictures, but you don't see the. This is pretty fun, actually. This is a potential gift idea. I'm kind of looking at this now through gift ideas for Christmas, probably. So hopefully no one's watching this that might be receiving gifts. Analog meets digital. This is another camera, I'm guessing. A film. Is it just video camera? All right, wireless music making. Ooh, what is happening there? We got a cutting-edge smartphone camera. All right. We got a pocket microscope camera. What does that mean? Clarity and sound and design, nothing headphone. Does this go over your temple? Is this one of those types? All right, we've got more products. We've got an ultra realistic TV. How expensive is this? I gotta see. Fun film photos for a smartphone generator. Fun film photos for a smartphone generation. Oh, for a smartphone generation. Okay, we gotta figure out what's going on with that. Here we go. Life and physical health are precious gifts entrusted to us by God. The Catechism of the Catholic Church states, We must take reasonable care of them, taking into account the needs of others and the common good. Right? When I was young, I wanted to be on Shark Tank. Nice. What did you have a product in mind or something in mind, or did you just like the idea of entrepreneurship? From the Catholic National Register, there's an article on there about the cult of the body that was written in 2008, but is always relevant. So I don't understand. Life and physical health are precious gifts, right? So what about shaving is getting rid of that? Or what about any type of grooming for the sake of health as well? So that's where this thing gets a little more difficult. Now, obviously, once you start doing things that put your health at risk, whether that would be plastic surgery, I'm wondering, like LASIK, there's a small chance that it doesn't go well. So is LASIK technically against the rule? I wanted to invent a telephone that was attached to a necklace, but I realized iPhones are already mobile phones. Ah. Yeah, I guess also now that just the AirPods are crazy. They're like technically earrings that are phones, which is even crazier. Okay. Next level bone conduction headphones. Okay, so these are the similar type of products where they're not going in your ear. Techno Megabook, a featherweight laptop. A little scary. The Light Phone 3, a distraction-free 5G phone. Let's check that one out. Very small smartphone. That wouldn't be as fun. To me, at least. Crypto and blockchain. Swear, tamper-proof video authentication. Okay. So is this gonna, like, can we use this for AI so that we know when a video is real or not? Like, you know, you're gonna have to send videos from now on with authentication that shows that it hasn't been tampered, or but then again, maybe you made it with AI and it wasn't tampered with, but it was still AI. I don't know how to fix that. Grooming per se isn't part of the cult of the body thing. It's when it goes into obsession or the people with a certain trait are undesirables that it goes into explicitly neo-pagan territory. And you know what people say about magazines promoting beauty? I don't. What do they say? They're devilish. All right, design, elevating form and function. Oh, this is exciting. Arzen Zip Trifold Portable Mini Projector. Entertainment anywhere. We got to check that one out. A powerful travel-sized dryer. What? We got to check that out too. A dryer? Is this like a hair dryer? Or are we talking... I'm trying to think about what this shape even is. Is this... You put it next to hanging clothes? All right. Impact Acoustic Spark. Sound Absorbing Lamp. When is this useful? I mean, I'm intrigued, but I don't know when that's useful. A zippy way to get around. Infinite Machine Alto. Let's go back here. I want to check this out, though. What do we got? Moft Snap phone Moft Snap-on phone stand and wallet. Oh, that's cool. Origami MagSafe wallet. Oh, I guess origami just because it does the does this type of folding. Top shelf treadmill. All right, this is probably very expensive. Oh my gosh, we got more. That it's toxic, that it promotes beauty culture, obsession with the body, right? Yeah. I mean, you could say, I mean, that was magazines, but now you could say that about all social media or the Kardashians or, you know, a lot of media. Quip Ultra Smart Electric Toothbrush. Okay. Samsung The Frame Pro. A wireless TV that blends right in. That's really cool. Wow, this is incredible. How much is that? Speedo Sunny G Mariner Mirrored Stylish Swim Goggles. Okay. I'm actually a little intrigued. An AI guided website builder. Squarespace has a AI guided website builder. That's cool. I'd want to try that out. Telepathic Instruments Orchid ORC, a compact synthesizer from Tame Impala. All right, let me check that one out. That's pretty sweet. A sleek vinyl turntable. And then we get a cute cat to cool your soup. Yo, what? Yo, I might get that. It's just a symptom of the Spenglerian age. Could you say that anything's a symptom of the Spenglerian age? Granted, yeah, I guess I don't know the precision of Spengler's ideas. Education, enhancing learning and educational access. Okay, teacher's aid. We've got AI coach. Interesting. We've got learn to play. Oh, what is this? Let's figure that one out. This is nice. We've got Squirrel AI, intelligent adaptive learning system, personalized AI lesson plans. I'm curious, is this for anything or is this for specific curriculum or curricula maybe? We got conversational. Oh, actually, what would? I'm curious about this one now too. Conversational language learning app, Superfluent. Then we got Classroom AI Guardrail. Turnitin Clarity. Turnitin is keeping up with the game. That's pretty cool. Cool my soup. Why would I want a cool soup? I think it would be that you've made your. For me, it's I always make my soup really hot. So now I either have to wait or I get an ice cube to put it in, or to put in it. But the ice cube then makes it waters it down. So now this cat is going to be able to cool it while not actually watering it down, which is probably what it does. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't do that. We'll see. I'll probably only do one. Actually, we're halfway through a Hades 2 run, so we could probably only just do. We could finish that one and then do another one probably. No, Spengler's conception is very specific. The fact he said that large entertainment expenditures will be common. Oh, I see. So anything in that regard, anything where our current media affects life would be Spenglerian. I see. Oh, here we go. Entertainment and gaming. Don't mind if I do. Powerful streaming everywhere or anywhere. Powerful streaming. What is happening here? What is stored in this box? And why is there a camera? Or is that a button? And why is it streaming? The world's biggest roller coaster. Yo, where is this? And how does this end up in... Oh, I guess entertainment. Switch 2, Blockbuster gaming console. I will probably get it once something worth getting comes out. I mean, I think things worth getting have come out so far. So, I don't know. Maybe I wait for the LED one, OLED one. I don't know. He predicted gym bros and people obsessed with that type of thing. Okay. Yeah, which is, somewhat similar, though. Gym bros kind of gets a little different. Yo, Daniel End. Stansky the Mansky. Nice. Dan the Man. Very nice. Popping off. What do we got going on here? All right. We've got a 4K touchscreen projector. No way. You project onto the table? All right, we got to do that. We got to check that out. On-demand karaoke. Got to check that out. A gaming PC on the go. This is a contender for, or a competitor to like Steam's system as well, I guess. I'm trying to think of one for Onion. Well, there's always Funyun, but Onion being Funyun. Nothing rhymes, unfortunately. I've tried. Bunyan. Well, you could always do two words that make the rhyme. Like, you don't have to do. You could always go Eminem style and go door hinge for orange. All right, experimental concept, inventions, and prototypes showing future potential. We got fossil fuel-free lights. Interesting. We've got clinical queries on call. Cool. A tiny heart helper for infants. That's cool. We got wearable imaging. What does that mean? Wearable imaging. We got to check that out. Recycling textile waste. And then we got voice for the voiceless. That's very cool. We've got more. We've got the making fresh water efficiently. That's cool. A quantum leap. Uh-oh. A sun-charged laptop. Crazy. Lab-grown chicken. Yeah, nugget of innovation. University of Tokyo, lab-grown chicken. Incredible. Look at that. Doesn't that just look appetizing? Aerial storm protection. What is the drone going to keep the storm at bay? Oh, it's literally going to keep the storm at bay. It's a lightning drone. It's literally going to... Yo, this is in the face of Zeus. This is not... This is where we're going after the gods now. We're making a fool of them. Quantum Brilliance Quoll, a diamond quantum microprocessor. Yikes. Jeez. We got plastic surgery. We got self-driving big rigs. Fashion. Here we go. Shaping the future of personal style and apparel. We've got earth-friendly denim. We've got more sustainable spandex. Why is this corn? Why are we looking at corn? Or is this lycra fiber? We've got a smart fashion friend. Okay, I'm curious what that does. We got a plant-based sneaker with a compostable sole. That's very cool. Fashion forecasting. Yo, what? I gotta check that out. We gotta be up on the fashion trends. And then we got a temperature regulation bra. Oh, that's so cool. Why don't they have shirts for this? We need shirts. We need temperature regulation shirts. We really need Thomas Edison Part 2. What are these inventions? Yeah, fair enough. Last year had some cool ones. I remember there was an indoor smoker, which I thought was insane. There was I think it was the air fryer where you could actually see inside the air fryer, like it was a see-through air fryer, which is pretty sweet. We're just getting to food and drink, so don't you worry. The coolest inventions are to come here. Uncaged innovations elevate a more authentic leather alternative. Okay. Here we go. Revolutionizing food production, preparation, and consumption. We've got a waste-free sparkling water. Okay. Do you buy? Is this like a water bottle you buy, or is this a sparkling water? No, I think this is just maybe a nicer... Oh, what do we... Oh, we got a new AeroPress? AeroPress Premium. So I currently own an AeroPress, so I'm curious what they've cooked up here. We've got an innovative alt protein, Better Meat Co. This is cool. Let's figure that one out. We got foamy vegan gummies. What? Oh, I guess gummies are usually not vegan. So I'm curious if these are sugary though, because that's no good as well, unfortunately. Which one was kind of hilarious? The excitement for the see-through air fryer is something. I mean, I just, it's just kind of an interesting thing to make. An alcoholic-free buzz. Is this not just any other type of beer? Like alcohol-free beer? Coffee from thin air. What does that mean? We got to check that out. All right, we got Ninja Swirl by Creamy. So I own a Ninja Creamy, but I don't have the Swirl, and I'm sure the Swirl's sick because the Ninja Creamy is sick. I would recommend a Ninja Creamy to anyone who wants to make their own treats. You could pretty much make anything. Alcohol-free alcohol. Yes, that's what it's all about. All right, we got a robotic home chef. What? All right, we got to check that out. Lab-grown fats. Savor butter. All right, we got to check that out. I don't know if we're checking all these out on stream right now, but I've got them up. Yo, longer lasting bananas. Come on. Thomas Edison did not make anything as cool as longer lasting bananas. All right, but here we've got the first lab grown seafood. This was the electric salmon that we were talking about early on. That is pretty cool. I was hoping that it would have actually been some electric related product, because that would have been quite apt. A more humane approach to commercial fishing. Okay. Did I already get this link? Because I got to do it again just in case. I can't miss out on non-browning bananas. I'm gonna send this to my friend. One of my friends said that he has a controversial take that he likes the hard banana a lot more than the soft banana, and I'm kind of getting around on that take. Finally, we're talking robotic chef. Yeah, I got to see how good that is. Green energy. Woo! Advancing cleaner energy solutions. So we got providing reliable power up, harnessing ocean power, grid efficiency, a seaworthy solution to shipping pollution, standout home energy backup. So this is a battery storage for the home. Okay, that's cool. A less costly heat pump. A heat pump. What is a heat pump? Is grabbing heat from where? What would a heat pump be used for? We got grains of energy, sand battery. Wow. And giant grid scale battery. All right. Green tech, tackling environmental challenges and building a sustainable future. Thomas Edison probably didn't know bananas existed. If he did, he would have made the longer lasting ones. Okay, fair enough. I can't combat that. If non-browning, then how do you know if they're bad? That's a good point. Is the point that they don't go bad? Which that would be some sort of magic. I'm guessing they just brown slower, if I were to guess, but we'll see. Tackling environmental challenges and building a sustainable future. We got fostering reefs. That's pretty cool. Protecting homes from wildfires. That's really cool. Slaking thirst. I got to see what's going on here. Data for wildfire prevention, great. Lowering electricity bills, cool. Turning data centers into power plants, very cool. And then expanding EV charging access, good. Health and wellness, all right. This is another potential gift / consumer product category. Improving physical, mental, and emotional well-being. This is actually stuff that could end up in the document, as crazy as that sounds. We've got ultra accessible menstrual pads. We got a less wasteful filter. A less wasteful filter. What kind of filter is this? Is this the top of a, like, what's happening here? Is this thing connected to the sink? I got to check this out. We got plastic-free hearing protection. Oh, we got to check this out too. All right. Chemical-free mosquito bite treatment. Very cool. We got to check that out too. Heat it. A breakthrough in pregnancy information. A virtual continuous glucose monitor. That's very cool. Keep cold, a stylish medication manager. Oh, is medication supposed to stay cold? Or maybe certain medications? A luxury cold plunge. How much is this? We got to see how much that costs. A luxury cold plunge. That's crazy. The end game for me is a cold plunge. Not for the next, 5 years, but that's the end game. Maybe these won't be in the document now that you're reading about them. Yeah, it would have to be something that is specifically like no, the cold plunge. I think cold plunge deserves to be in the document. Honestly, I think cold plunge deserves to not only be in part 2 but maybe part 3 as well. As a mechanism that you could apply to achieve your goals. Especially since we have a whole section, or we're going to have a whole section in part 2 about emotion regulation, about the the physiology behind focus and motivation. Cold plunges are very much in line, but I don't think anything else here, except for maybe filtration. But no, it wouldn't be. It would just be drinking water, and who cares if it's filtered as far as the document's concerned? Just drink the water. Okay, in-frame hearing help. Oh, that's really cool. What is it? It's like within the frames. Oh, we got to check this out. I was thinking maybe it's something that reads to you, but maybe this is actually a visual helper. So we got to check that out. Reduce bone loss with a belt. Okay. Demystifying cancer care. Sense to boost cognition. Uh-oh. That's something that maybe. I don't know if this is founded. Do we have to talk about sense to boost cognition in part 2 of the document? None of these things, by the way, like the cold plunge or this, would get large parts of the document. It would be almost like a small section pretty far in the document that would touch upon how technology allows us to further pursue these goals of being able to pursue our goal better. All right, saving hot sleepers. We just got a sleep number. We got drug-free sinus relief. Okay, I'm all down for that. At-home cervical cancer test. All right, pro-level health data. Whoop is making the list. We got a better cure for bacterial vaginosis. What is happening here? What is the picture? Is this the inside of a mouth closing in on a pill, or what is the thing around the pill? I don't know. This is a WISP male BV partner treatment. Okay, I'm intrigued. Maybe this is a little too PG-13 for the stream, but I'm intrigued. Spengler predicted this yet again. Looks like the wrong end of a spoon. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm at a loss. Okay. Household, improving home life and household efficiency. A digital frame for smartphone photographers. All right, I am kind of curious about digital frames these days, so I'm going to check that out. Keeping food fresh during blackouts. Oh, this is just this is a specific refrigerator that has a solar panel. Interesting. Verifiable water filtration. Oh, is this a filtration tester? Because that's pretty cool. Oh, it comes with the verification. That's actually really cool. Step climbing robot vacuum. Yo, this is incredible. This is insane. I never thought I'd see the day. Solar off-grid performance refrigerator is pretty cool. Yeah, that's actually a nice and useful invention. Are you saying that the step climbing robot vacuum is not a useful invention? Yeah, especially for poorer countries. Yep, for sure. A fan that follows you. What? Is it on wheels? Like, or is it on your head? Like, are you wearing a hat that? A cleaner's delight. Is this just a different type of Swiffer? I don't know. It's kind of freaking me out, honestly. All right, we got outside stuff. We got a current maker for home pools. Yo. I got to check that out. Plant Nanny. Leafy Pod. We've got an allergen reducing cat tree. I got to send this to my friend. A smarter cordless pool cleaner. That's cool. We've got a portable air conditioner for a warming Europe. That's probably really expensive. An off-grid sauna. How much is this? I got to see this as well. A solar sauna? Yo, that's crazy. Deep cleaning made easy. And cleaner water for your pets. Nice. Can't believe it's in the same league as a digital frame for smartphone photographs. I agree. Yep, these some of these categories are tainted by less insane inventions. It flies, obviously. Oh, it flies. Is that serious? This thing is flying? Like a drone fan? That would be kind of cool. Also, Stim, why don't you use the middle mouse button? Oh, like this? To go down? The main reason is probably because I use a Mac most of the time. I'm a big Mac user. So I'm used to the touchpad. And so I guess I always kind of do the rough. But yeah, this is pretty nice. I guess you don't have as much control over the exact, like you kind of have to do a little start-stop action, which is a little annoying for me, even though it's maybe faster. But immersive tech, advancements in AR, VR. We've got creating virtual worlds. Oh, yeah, this one deserves it. Google's DeepMind Genie 3. This is really cool and also terrifying. And then we've got sleek AR graphic glasses for everyone. Huh. Okay. Cool. Logistics, optimizing delivery and supply chain operations. We got smarter warehouses. We got autonomous delivery trucks on the road. We got automated supply chain operations. Okay. Manufacturing and materials. Desktop fab factory. Climate-friendly steel, making planes undetectable. Yikes. Cobalt breakthrough, compostable retail bags, slimmer. This is cool. Longer lasting power. Nice. All right, medical and healthcare. This is another one that potentially could somehow make it. What is ORS? Is this like a gas detector? What would something sensor? ORS. OR. What is OR? Obtrusive. I don't know. Oh, to click on the things. Oh, to do the. Oh, okay. I didn't even consider that. Yeah, that's much nicer. Yeah, that's another reason why I don't do that is because I'm used to a Mac, so I didn't realize that was a thing. My only cool technique is I always use the right click for the backspace as opposed to hitting that. But yeah, I gotta use the middle mouse for that. Okay, I think I already clicked that. Cutting paperwork. A bridge for nurses. All right, a blood test for brain injury. We got, oh, that's really cool. Needle-free epinephrine. Okay. We got printing new rotator cuffs and ACLS. A minimally invasive prostate cancer treatment. Nice. Oxygen reduction, maybe. Okay. Oxygen reduction sensor. That sounds most plausible. Operational range system. It's used in intercontinental ballistic missiles when acquiring targets. Are you just making that up? No, that can't be in medical and healthcare. That would be kind of wild. When acquiring targets, you just have a bunch of these on your ship. All right, speeding up cell therapies, rapid brain testing. We got simplifying cloning. Nice. AI fertility aid. We've got a simple solution to stop bleeding in seconds. Oh, what? I got to check that out. Helping kids clear their ears. Is it only for kids? All right, we got at-home Alzheimer's treatment. That's awesome. We got treating the untreatable. I don't know what it is, but that's awesome. Every cure. It cures everything. Preventing HIV. Cool. Predicting preeclampsia. Okay. Controlling Parkinson's tremors. Tastier medical food. Huh. What is medical food? Elemental diet powder. I got to see what that's all about. Why not? They'll never expect it. Fire them up. Yep. Perhaps we should. Okay, here we go. We got spreading medical research. That's very cool. Open evidence. Can I get onto that? I want to see some medical research. We got doctor in a box. What? On med care station? Can they just install these anywhere and it's pretty much like you could just get a doctor there and then have this set up in like a office building? So like your company could have like a in-house doctor. Saving lives in childbirth. Very cool. And then we got making real-time maps for surgeons. We got catching strokes early. A new method for quicker vaccine production. Cool on all fronts. Groundbreaking hormone-free IUD. We got an implant to treat an autoimmune disease. We got to get this to Jordan Peterson ASAP. Developing groundbreaking neurotechnology. I don't understand. A painkiller breakthrough, cool. An AI. Oh, actually, what's going on here? Is this like an over-the-counter? I'm curious. Like, is this an alternative to other painkillers? Or is this like a breakthrough? Is this a non-addictive one? That would be cool. An AI assistant for science writers. Huh. Outdoors. Oh my gosh, there's so much more. All right, I think we're going to just... Maybe I should just one-tab these and then we talk about them another day. But let's at least get to the end of the list. And then we'll have to do the Kiwi bird another day, I think, as well, unfortunately. But we'll do it. We'll do it. Outdoors, this could be exciting. An ice-free, solar-powered cooler. That is very cool. How much are we talking? A stylish electric boat for wake sports. Cool. A weatherproof biometric padlock. Oh, wow. Wow. That's pretty sweet. I'm going to check that one out as well. Hands-free snow boots. Who would have thought? Does snow not get in there, though? We got mosquito blocking fabric. Oh, cool. We got a ski season saver. A snow secure insulation mat. All right, I'll have to check that out. Oh, this is something that you put over the grounds, it looks like. Okay, that's really cool. Yes, Hades today. Absolutely Hades today. We just got to get through this. I'll probably Hades right after this. Especially since we're talking smack on these Greeks. We gotta get in there. A better knit to keep dry and warm. We got easy tick removal from pets and clothes. All right, we got parenting, making family care easier, safer, and more enjoyable. Renting baby supplies. That's really cool. You don't have to just buy it and then have to sell it again. 3-in-1 bath perfector. What does that mean? What would it do? What would the 3-in-1 bath perfector do? Can we raid if you're feeling adventurous? Well, we can't raid until after Hades. So I guess maybe. But yeah, I guess I did want to look at other channels, and I guess we didn't have time to. But I would like to check out other channels. Yeah, at some point I need to do more research on just who's out there. Family planner. Cozy calendar +2. Nice. A 2-in-1 bouncer and bassinet. That's cool. A safe car seat that calms. That's cool. A streamlined to-go pump. Very cool. Pregnancy, peace of mind. A breathing coach for children. Moonbird Moon Buddy. I should get one of these, honestly. I'm gonna check this out. I'm probably not gonna get one, but I do like the idea of a breathing coach, like a little buddy for breathing. I know people do that with apps where there's like a literal like icon of a person. But okay, I heard Onion Helmet is going to start streaming soon from his hot hub because you didn't invite him. His hot, I'm guessing you meant tub. I didn't invite him to what? Or because I didn't invite him to my hot tub. Yeah, we still have to plan for the hot tub streams. All right, what do we got? First of its kind formula, innovative mountain bikes for children. That's cool. I'm actually kind of curious about that one. Privacy and security, improving online security and data protection. A privacy-focused phone. Okay, I'm curious how much it does in terms of security and all kinds of other things there. Honor on-device AI deepfake detection. Better trust built in. Oh, that's cool. So that's similar to the one that was, I guess, more corporate focused. Online age assurance. How does this actually work? Quantum navigation. What would that mean? Oh, no. Oh, this is probably quantum computing security, I would guess. A nutrition label for internet connected devices. Okay. That's cool. What do we got? Hot tub and then cold plunge after party. I mean, really, it should be sauna. We should do sauna streams. We could probably get away with sauna streams, right? That's not as, like, we could be wearing stuff for that. People wouldn't get mad. That's a crazy idea. Yeah, the new hot ones should just be sauna interviews in the sauna. Togas, yeah, or togas. Absolutely, that would be pretty funny. Enhancing personal and professional productivity and efficiency. Yeah, imagine having a sauna podcast where we invite other people to come in and join in on the sauna, and sometimes we go to other saunas. Enhancing personal and professional productivity and efficiency. This is cool. Vibe coding tool. We've got honing the job search. We've got a simple conference room monitor. All right, we've got a distraction-free tablet. I got to check out what Remarkable's doing. I check Remarkable out every single year, and it's always something cool. Ultra portable point of sale. Okay. Square handheld. Nice. Okay. On-demand white papers. We've got reuse and recycle. Circular economic solutions promoting sustainable resource use. Let AI sort your recycling, recognizing brands in recycling, zapping water contaminants. All right, that's cool. Social impact, addressing global challenges and improving society. Stan, someone literally gave birth on stream. We can do a hot sub stream. Someone literally gave birth on stream. Were they allowed? Did they get in trouble? Do people still do hot tub streams, or is that something that is not allowed anymore? Man, we have a lot of tabs to go through. We've got a vital malnutrition supplement. It's pretty cool. We got easier donations. We've got cutting grocery costs. Oh man, I gotta get some more sleep. An AI-powered immigration assistance. One jab to protect against 6 diseases. That's really cool. Hexavalent. A digital library for half the world. Oh, that's cool. Solar spell. Reducing the global laundry burden. Community incentives for recycling. Bathroom as a service. What? We got to check that out. Prenatal health for all. Rewarding good deeds. I'm gonna check that one out as well. Oh, sports and fitness. This is back into commercial, general commercial products. Yes, they were allowed. Hot tub meta has evolved into a new meta. Now you got everything. What do you mean now? Oh, what do you mean now you got everything? Like people are doing all kinds of things with pools and hot tubs and stuff like that. Are guys even allowed to be shirtless? I feel like that was something that was off limits. Like, can dudes do hot tub streams, or do they have to be wearing a shirt? Okay, sports and fitness, enhancing athletic performance and recovery. We're looking for recovery here. Match ready. Oh wait, a tennis robot. I'm guessing it's not the ball. I'm guessing it's something that's going to be hitting to you. A literal cooldown. Oh, this is amazing. This is really great. I think Huberman was talking about something like this, but he was talking about gloves where they actually see significant differences in recovery speed when you have some sort of cold going through what Huberman called the portals into your body. You know, whether it's your hands or, you know, the bottoms of your feet, or I think there's a couple other areas that like transfer temperature or transfer heat with your internals. So this would be after you do a set of something, you would hold these things and it would literally allow you to recover more quickly. You know, similarly, I think if you were to run a marathon holding these things, that would be like a performance enhancing. So I'm going to make sure I touch that one. Okay, you could do a hot tub stream. I've seen pool streams. The play a game or you're getting banned rule is long gone. Clear chairs. Okay, was any of this in response to the shirtless stream? Because it might be. I don't know if I want to be a pool shirt guy in these hot tub streams. All right, portable weight training. Interesting. I got to check that out. We've got in-frame cycling innovation. Okay. A smart cockpit for cyclists. Oh, this is really cool. That's really, really cool. But I'm sure that people have their phones set up and they get essentially this, but this is still pretty neat though. You could probably get it so that it tells you your, like, all kinds of stuff about rotations and whatnot. Recovery on the go. So this is what Marquez Brownlee showed off, I think. Oh, was this heat or was this cold? It was some sort of recovery wearable. Re-engineering home runs. No way. Are they selling bats that are better at hitting? You asked what kind of stuff they were doing now in addition or instead of hot. I see. Okay. I think because Twitch doesn't really have any room to be too choosy anymore, might just be false intuition, but I feel like they're getting lower and lower in importance with all the TikTok lives and YouTube streaming booming. Okay. Interesting. I'm surprised we haven't had I guess YouTube streaming only really works if people are already there, but we haven't had a single person just kind of stumble upon this channel. That said, the chat would be empty, right? Is our chatbot one way where if we type... No, I think it's two way. I think anyone who types here, it's showing up in the YouTube chat. That's actually a good question, though. I don't know my own infrastructure right now. So if you view the channel, I don't know my... Yeah, it shows up as Restream bot, and it's Twitch. Right. So yeah, no one so far has typed in this thing other than when Darmadam got booted. Yeah, he had to come into the actually, I don't know, he might have done it through Discord. Now that I mention it, he might have talked through Discord, because that's the third way you could talk in this chat, which is through Discord, which is probably the way to get around any things. Like, you could probably post links in the Discord one. So I gotta make sure that isn't a loophole when this place blows up. Honestly, I think it should just be one way. I think Discord should be able to see the chat, so then people could just have that up on their Discord to see what's going on, maybe while they're not actually in the stream. But maybe not have people in Discord actually typing in the chat when they're not even perhaps even seeing the stream. Daniel, and it's probably because they went from niche hobby interest site to a big sponsorship company. Back when I joined, 10,000 viewers playing World of Warcraft was the peak of streaming, quite literally. Yep. There were no VIPs, no affiliate, and your only hope of making money were tips or donations and subscribers when you got a sub button. Could be. Yeah, Kick seems to be stealing more and more people too. Yeah, we could get onto Kick at some point. Is there a reason we can't raid someone before you play Hades? Because I'm going to be starting up the stream only minutes after I end the stream. So I wouldn't want to... I mean, granted, I think, everyone's here, so they could find their way back. But, I think we wouldn't want to push everyone away and have them not be here when I start up again, or for them to have to come back. So I think just generally that's a good... Kick is toxic. Uh-oh. Now you got streamers competing in races, huge sponsorships. Man, I'm about to be the biggest gambling promoter. No, actually, I do think that we should be pretty judicious with our sponsorships. I think it's got to be something that literally aligns with the morals of the document. Like, being a gambling promoter would be the most striking hypocrisy I think we could possibly do. Okay, rating ends the current stream. Maybe you're thinking of the new co-streaming feature. Then can't people who want to watch you play Hades so they can return? The reason I ask is because my friend is trying to expand his stream. mean, fair enough. It's just that, yeah, we're just going to be still streaming, so. Yeah, I got to figure out what I want to do about raiding in general, how I want to go about that. Ideally, I would only want to raid people that I am like pretty confident of their content, so that when I'm sending people there, I could be certain that they're at least in good hands. But that obviously that's not like that important now, as we don't have many viewers. But you know, I think it's just generally good to practice these things before they become actual realities. All right, a faster racing shoe. That's cool. A non-slip sport sunnies. Cool. An oscillating massage gun. Wait, were there not oscillating massage guns previously? Gotta check that one out. Redesigning menstrual care yet again, but I guess in a sport sense. Data-driven dribbles. Oh, I gotta check that out actually. I like dribbling is one of those things that I do at some point in my life want to get incredibly good at. That, dancing, piano playing, those might be it. And I probably can't do it for the next few years, but eventually I'm going to be out there just dribbling. I'll have you guys know. Maybe we'll do dribble streams. Before we end stream, I have one more chat GPT suggestion. We might not have the time, but you could let it rip, and I could try to do it while we're going through these last few. Okay, what's going on here? We are. There we go. What do we got? A better treadmill. Okay. Then we got sustainability, innovations integrating elements to reduce environmental impact. This seems very similar, but I guess sustainability is a different topic. Housing from recycled plastic, letting small businesses influence the electrical grid. An electric commuter ferry, that's very cool. AI-powered sorters, power to the design-minded, solar roof. Fighting flooding with sustainable habitats. Then we got turning brand waste into charity. Then we got an all-natural casket. Interesting. Is the casket going to dissolve? Or is it just a naturally made? I'm guessing it's not. All right. A more sustainable shower. It saves hot water. Interesting. How does that work? I got to check that one out. Hopefully these tabs are actually opening. Now I'm just hitting the third button. You might like the Yvonne Neo channel. I think he might be interested in reading your stuff privately, or might be good to raid. All right, let's throw that over here. Is this Twitch? This guy? Yes. I also do some science presentations. My background is in physics. Interesting. Videos. Uh-oh. Okay. The 11th? So does he not keep VODs, but he just goes on and streams? We got to check this out. 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. This is right in line. So maybe, you know what? I'm not streaming tomorrow, but Sunday I'll be streaming at night probably. And we could check this out. Seems like a nice fella Ivan. What are the neo-Piagetian ethics of Carl Gilligan, and how supported are they by developmental psychology? So I guess one of the things that I could ask to hone in on some of these suggestions is, if they're not supported by developmental psychology, or if there's not support in the field, then I wouldn't want to entertain it at all. So that could be like a good filter that you could help me out with. Oh wait, why did I type in charge? Chat. Okay. Where like if you know that is something is not. Oh, he's streaming tomorrow, right? Yeah, I'm just not gonna be on tomorrow. But I will be on Sunday, I think. Okay, let's just make sure that we're moving here. Recycled athleisure, automated cleaner energy use, toys and play. Uh-oh, here we go. If there is a new fidget spinner, maybe we get a fidget spinner. 3D printable toys, very cool. The everything toy. Biggest little B is for ball. I'm curious. Kids safe power tool. What? Yo. Here it is. This is the Barbie. You create, customize an iconic doll. Okay, I was really hoping this wasn't AI related, and it isn't. So, have I seen this? No. Wait, what is going on here? All right, what's going on here? He needs an editor. 9 months ago, how bad was our document looking? Oh my gosh, yeah, 9 months ago, the document was looking pretty rough, I think. The document was still philosophy focused, whereas then we got science focused, I would say. I would like to give a shout out to, I got to give a shout out to this guy. On this subreddit, as he is someone who's in the process of developing a document dedicated to the metaphysics of mattering, inspired by Jordan of mattering. I don't think we have ever used the word mattering. I don't necessarily vouch for everything in the document. However, I would like to give him due credit in here for attempting to systematize and build on Jordan Peterson and his public philosophy. Yeah, we gotta shout out this guy. We gotta go. I'm gonna send him a message, maybe next stream. I'll put this in our. Maybe I'll put it in here. But thank you for finding that. I would have never found that. Is that the only thing that comes up when you search Stan Richardson on Reddit, other than I guess my own stuff? Okay. Open-ended play. Oh, actually, you know what? I should also shout out, by the way. Oh, did we lose the actual message? You know what? I should also shout out. Oh man, that's me. That's me. Where did the message go? Oh, it's in a different window. There it is. Okay. I should shout out this guy too, because this guy actually looked at the content. So I should send this guy a message. It's just you and that. All right. Very interesting. I did not expect that. Okay. Very cool. Was not expecting that. Stream summaries. And a lot of stream summaries. Which I'm still updating periodically. I think I'm maybe I'm probably a week late now. I have a lot more streams transcribed, and I need to just make the summaries of them. Maybe that'll be a fun activity for the weekend. I'm not sure. But, all right, we've got open-ended play. Okay, so this is just like a new Lego, I'm guessing. A stringless smart guitar. Does this actually like help you learn, or is this like a... I don't know. Making drawings come alive. Okay, we got to check that out. That's pretty cool. Transportation. We've got electric SUV, an affordable EV, a smarter school buses, zip around town in comfort, Lime glider. We've got last mile workhorse, a robot driving test proctor. Oh, this is really cool. Then we got blocking driver distractions, Saver 1. What is Saver 1 doing? Blocking driver distractions. How would that work? We got to check that out. A long-range electric motorcycle. Cool. Smart seatbelt. Okay, let's see that. Oh, it's a Volvo product. Okay. A safer, it's not even a product, it's probably just Volvo technology. Safer self-driving car. Nice. Travel. We've got cooler and thicker wireless charging. Okay, yeah, these are getting nicer. These chargers. We've got ultra accessible travel insurance. We got RV paradigm shift. Okay. And we've got Mantra Sound sleep mask. Catch some Z's. Does it just... Oh, we got to check that out. Does that just make sounds in your ears? I noticed the tone changed on those. It's like you're typing them from your own point of view now. So I was sitting there like, wait. Oh, of the stream summaries. That's interesting. So we're using the same exact... I think we're using the same exact prompt. Like, I think I typed the prompt out. The prompt is pinned. We've got a pinned announcement on our subreddit that says the prompt. So, but they do talk from my own point of view, which is really weird. I think that that is very odd. So I don't know if people are gonna like that or not, but I'm certainly open to suggestions on that prompt. I want that prompt to be basically open source so that people could suggest specific changes. Maybe it just seems like that for me. Yeah, I don't know. Energy Dompter, I haven't done enough research on the subject to know whether her ethics are supported by developmental psychology. However, I've heard she's generally respected by psychologists. Okay. Well then, yeah, we'll check it out. We'll figure it out. Wearable technology, tech designed to be worn, enhancing health, fitness, and daily life. What do we got? We got smart armband, a sleep monitor. Let's check that out. Leap forward for smart glasses, a portable AI-driven brain monitor. What? A brain monitor? Always on, Aura Ring 4. Okay, so this is Aura going out of sleep. Self-adjusting sleep system. Sleep buds. Let's check that as well. Special mentions. Oh my gosh, there's a whole thing of special mentions. How big is this? All right, we'll do the special mentions another day as well. So right now I'm gonna just do one of these bad boys. Get it all 100 tabs. Very cool. We don't need this tab. We're gonna need the Kiwis for sure. We probably don't need this one. I'll just keep that one. All right. And then, yeah, and then I also know about the third wheel to do to close tabs. I'm gonna have to keep this guy as well so that I remember. If someone can, please also remind me that that's happening Sunday night. I'll listen in. I don't want to put too much pressure on it. I don't want it to feel like I'm vetting people though. Like if he starts up and he starts talking about stuff that I think is insane, then we might just have to get off of there. But I don't want it to be a big deal. So, all right, we got non-Piagetian development of moral reasoning theory. That is, she builds on Jean Piaget and Kohlberg's developmental models, but departs from them in critical ways. Below is a structured explanation of her position and how developmental psychology has evaluated it. Okay. Piagetian and neo-Piagetian context describing moral development as progressing from heteronomy, obedience to authority, to autonomy, rule-making based on mutual respect. Okay, so this is through the life. And Lawrence Kohlberg, expanding on Piaget, formulated a stage theory of moral reasoning ranging from pre-conventional obedience and self-interest through conventional law and social order to post-conventional, post-universal principles. Neo-Piagetian thinkers retain the stage-based developmental structure of Piaget's model, but emphasize contextual variability, how reasoning changes with social roles, domain-specific development. So this sounds good. I imagine this is... I think this is fine. So when does Carol come into play? Gilligan fits into this tradition. She accepts the developmental logic of Piaget and Kohlberg, but argues that their models systematically misrepresented or excluded the moral reasoning patterns more common among women. Okay. So regardless, I think it's worth pointing out that maybe do we want a discussion about this is tricky. So to do this though, so to have a discussion about social, like moral development, it has to be after here, which is when we start talking about development in social context. I mean, we could do it here. Yeah, let's put it there as a maybe to do. It would have to be there, if anywhere. Okay, we have development in social psychology. And then can we get what was it called? It was neo Piagetian ethics. Piagetian context. And I'm going to just gank all this. So this is something that we could add if we wanted to specifically talk about how, like this more the moral aspect of it, like the norms. We could call them like deontic norms rather than moral norms. We'd have to look into that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the scope of this place is or this discussion is. Ethics of care. So this is morality. So perhaps also we can talk about. I'm gonna just grab this and I'm gonna just put this into part 3, because this is when we would have to actually talk about morality as maybe something that changes throughout our life. So I'll put that there. All right. Maybe it's, maybe it just seems like, okay, Sunday question mark. We're going to have to do a stream summary or something on Sunday. For Ivan, that is. Wait, we're going to have to make a stream summary for Ivan? Let me. We're gonna have to do a stream summary or something on Friday, or on Sunday for Ivan. What does that mean? That we're gonna do a stream summary for Ivan, or we're gonna do a summary of his stream, which would be difficult because my transcribing script downloads the VOD, and since Ivan doesn't post VODs, we can't download that. We'd have to be downloading as we view, which we could do actually. But it would require a manual YouTube DLP or manual FM. What is that? FMPEG? What is that service called? I don't know. Since he won't be live on Sunday and you're not live to... Oh, he's not live Sunday? I thought he was live Sunday. Or did I misread that? Ivan... Maybe I just missaw it. Oh, Saturday. Oh, he's only live Saturdays. Oh, I see. I just saw Saturday and I thought that... So he's live every single Saturday, once a week. Wow. This is a real interesting dude. It's looking pretty nice. Oh, and he's on Blue Sky. Is he active on Blue Sky? One day ago. The Humanist Meaning of Life with A.C. Grayling. So is he talking to this guy, or? When it comes to genetics, I am a layperson, but this looks fascinating. The authors are overlaying genetic information on the evolutionary tree. Oh, this is really cool. I don't know what any of these categories mean, though. Like what genetic... I don't even know how to describe that. Like, is it gene functions? Is that what we're saying? After several amusing attempts to get ChatGPT to create an infographic for my counter-argument from design, I made this one manually in PowerPoint. What do you think? The counter-argument from design. Why evolution tells us that life was not designed. Nice. We're kind of in a pickle. You've misread it twice now. Did I just read it? Misread it twice? Every Saturday, right? Okay, so I think I'm going to be on one of these Saturdays. It's not that I'm always off on Saturday. It's just that I'm not on tomorrow. So when we're on for a Saturday, we're going to need to check out this stream. Otherwise, we have no way of seeing what this guy does. This is crazy that he like comes out with a tweet and like once a month. That's pretty funny. But maybe he's more active. Oh, he's reposting too. But that's he doesn't even repost frequently. Interesting. How did you know about this guy? Where'd you find this? Or I guess is he a somewhat prominent Saturday philosophy streamer? Okay. Let's clean up a little. I think we're ready. I think we're ready for the Hades switch, and I'll probably only be able to do I'll probably finish up the one run and then call it a night. A reason I recommended her is because I don't want the document to not have women's perspectives represented. I agree. I think we don't want this to be a guide for men type deal. That said, we need to make sure that we're careful when we're talking about what actually pertains to the different genders, as opposed to what. I think we were talking previously about the from the philosophy test. Have you seen the stream before though? You're actually one of the only consistent people on it. Seriously? No one's doing consistent philosophy these days? What gives? Isn't philosophy huge on YouTube? Or are people usually just watching their favorite YouTuber on YouTube? So the discussions we've had before about Gavin's March, Stan has cornered the market. Yeah, I've cornered the market by showing up. So I think I've discussed before that there's gender differences in personality, but that's not actually relevant for our document because those gender differences are actually not significant for an individual. They're significant for a population. So when you look at the population, it can explain why you see suicide occurring in, I don't know, men versus women or something like that, or why you see why you see more men going to prison or something like that. But as for the document, the document's not going to make those types of, it's not like you as an individual we have to predict the probability that you are this way or that way. So yeah, in the document, we don't have to look into those types of differences. But in the document, we might want to look into gender-based techniques for doing something with your life, whatever it might be. So for that would be a good example, though, if there's something that's distinctively part of like the female condition, as opposed to the male condition of morality. That chapters that's going to be in part 4. It's actually the title of part 4. All right. I can't even talk. The past hour has been spent on me looking for consumer products that I thought were cool. So it's going to be chapter 6, Stan be shopping. The fact that this stream is also interactive is not common either. So what does that mean? Like, are there small streamers in other chat channels that don't interact with the chat at all? Like, is that a thing that is even, like, do they literally just do something on stream and not pay attention to chat? I had the stream on, was cooking, eating. Nice. Hell yeah. Hopefully it was interesting. Was it while we were going through those products? I ended up with 100 tabs. Yeah, I'm trying to get a sense of like what other people are doing. Oh, nice. Hell yeah. Yeah, I don't know why, but I get a real kick out of going through the Times inventions of the year. Deadass, yes. What is going on here? Are there larger channels that they don't interact with chat just because there's too many people in chat, or is it pretty much that in order for a philosophy-based channel to get large, you have to be in politics as well? Or they don't know anything about philosophy, or it's just politics slop? Well, I really don't know much about philosophy either, so, you know, there's that. At least I don't know much about like the history of philosophy or the taxonomy of philosophy, I should say. That said, I do think that the document obviously is pretty compelling, so that's why we're doing it. All right, I think I'm gonna take a 5-minute break, and then I'm gonna be back to play some Hades for probably only like 45 minutes until I go to bed. So I will see you then. Thank you all for chilling for this stream. Thanks for popping in, Gavin's especially. This dude is way too humble. Well, what does it mean to know philosophy? All right. I've read Being in Time. That's like the only thing I have. All right. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. That puts you ahead of 90% of people. Fair enough. All right. I will see you in a bit. Have a